the session very well. So before we begin, I would love to present this day before God. And can we just quickly humble ourselves and then we can start. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for day 2 of our community leaders engagement. We put it before you. Let everything we are to discuss, talk about, be for the good of your kingdom, be for the good of our community, and for the good of our next superstars. We pray that you give us divine understanding, wisdom, and knowledge. And may we agree to disagree or disagree to agree. And everybody said, Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Before I go to the next agenda, just some housekeeping. For those of you that don't know, if you want to make the calls, one if it is local, the other one maybe to the US, you use that room there. You can find the different versions of the calls you would love to make. And then if you know you haven't yet done the assessment, please you will reach out to the team here so that we can have an assessment with you, because we would love to stay in touch with our monitoring and evaluation. It's very important for the project. And then number 3, housekeeping rules. Please smile. Hey, you know, it is scary when you're these ends and people are not smiling. You start asking yourself, do I look ugly? Am I making people cry? There was that story when we were kids. Was it the god of death? What was the name? Waruge. Am I Waruge? People are not happy. People, please. Housekeeping rules, smile. Me, every time I see people not smiling, I'll come back here and say, pause, can we smile? Okay? We need to look young. We need to look young. Smiling is the cheapest form of skincare routine. Ladies, we need to smile because we need to stay young and keep the soul excited. But anyway, as any community, I would love to let you know that we are in someone's home. And when in someone's home, they have to welcome you. So we would love to be also welcomed officially by the chairman of the zone, Katavi, Namate LC1. And would love to welcome Mr. William to officially welcome us in his home, and then we can kick off. You're welcome, sir.
I thank the current MC for giving me the opportunity to, did you say to open or to welcome these colleagues of ours? I can do both. Okay. There is nothing that does not come from God. There are some of you who used to meet me elsewhere under a different capacity. But this time here I am, representing the chairperson LC1 of this hospitable LC1, where such a facility is. I always want to introduce myself before I begin talking. I'm by the name of Mutashaba William, a teacher by profession, a senior citizen. I retired at the level of Principal Education Officer, and my last station was Makindi Sabagabo in Wachiso District. However, residents of Entebbe know me. I served in Entebbe first as a tutor in Entebbe Teachers College by then head teacher. I only headed 2 schools. The first school is where I did my primary education. That is Mighty St. Joseph Katabi Primary School. The Mighty St. Joseph. I call it Mighty because it is the one that made me what I am. Then, for a number of good years, I headed Sacred Heart Bugonga Primary School, commonly known as Bugonga Boys. And then thereafter, I was spotted and called upon to serve the nation in Wachiso. I started as an inspector of schools, where I went through all the ladders and ended at the level of principal education officer. And currently I'm on the executive LC1. And I want to appeal to my colleagues who are still in the service. Make sure that you are always relevant. And whenever an opportunity arises, make sure that you are seen. Having said that, I would like to, first of all, thank the organizers for having chosen to have this workshop in our LC, one area where such a good facility is. Thank you very much. I would also like to welcome you, fellow participants, to Katabi Namati, LC1. This is an LC1. I don't want those who come from Katabi, Musambaga to say that we are proud of our area, but the truth is, it is the most peaceful area in Division A. I don't want to talk about Division B because I don't stay there. And in the Katabi ward. Therefore, I would have said this yesterday, but normally the LC ones, when they come to talk, the last thing they say, security is assured. But I think you've seen it for yourselves. Since yesterday, nothing disturbed you, and I want to assure you that you will remain as peaceful as we are, and none of you will go back home in pieces, but you'll go back in peace. Having said that, when I received this invitation through my boss, of course the chairman, who happens not to be here, when I read about rugby, I went through a school, secondary school, I think it is the first college in the country, Namiliango College, which used to play rugby. And to share my experience with you, I was a small boy. When I was told to go and play rugby with the colleagues, the roughness I saw there, I did not want to go back. Indeed, I didn't go back. And this is a game we used to call our colleagues who were participating in it as a game for ruffians. But later on, as I started growing up and reading about rugby, I realized the participants of rugby are the most disciplined players, irrespective of what happens in the field. Somebody is lifted high, somebody comes out of the field smiling. And that is the reason why the participants today, the organizers are urging us to keep smiling. For when you look at them, they are ever smiling. I think these are the tenets of the rugby game. Therefore, some of you are parents. When our children tell us that they participate in rugby, encourage them. And I want to tell you, if you want to get the most disciplined person allow your child to participate in games and sports. Don't say that this game is for boys, this game is for girls. Everybody can equally do something as long as one is a human being. I wouldn't like to go to delve much into this, because as teachers we have a problem. We suffer from verbal diarrhea. So with those remarks, I want to once again welcome you. I want to wish you a happy stay during this workshop, and even when you feel like staying more and more, there is a lot of peace in St. Joseph. I mean in Katabi, Namate, LC1. I thank you. May the good Lord be with us as we participate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our host, Mr. William. There are certain statements that are made and you can't even say any single word after that, because it gives us a very good welcome and preamble to our day 2, okay? And I don't know if most of you have looked at the program. I know we are time-barred, so certain moments will have to be a little bit straightforward with them. And without wasting any more time, like I said, once in a while I will remind you to always smile, Me, whenever I see people not smiling, I put in a reminder. These days in Luganda, they say, Muli ba kujukiza nnyo. I have no problem. Techiri mustani kolachi to remind you. So I'll be reminding you too. Hey, so that even if you've said the other words, I couldn't remember what they taught us, but one thing they kept saying was smiling. You have to always smile. So anyway, we would love to kick off our day 2 with some keynotes from a very important person in our community. And like I said, this is a community leaders engagement. Each one of you here is a leader in their own capacity. So we would love to hear from you, and the sessions are going to be very, very enriching. So we hope that we go back with something. But as we begin, we would love the keynote that would give us, I would say, the stepping stone to this engagement in our day 2. And we would be hearing from Miss Lillian Mutonyi, who will introduce herself. She'll also tell you who she is, because at times we, the moderators, might want to say things to show we know the person a lot, yet we're just reading them and we make mistakes. So I feel it would be prudent enough that Miss Mutonyi will do the honors herself to tell you who she is, and she'll be giving us a keynote on safeguarding as a shared responsibility. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
Thank you, Mr. Elijah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Are we smiling? Camera people, I hope it's okay if I walk around. I really feel imprisoned if I have to stand in one place. My name is Lillian Mutonyi, and what do you want to know? I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I'm an educator. I am a principal of Legacy Holders International Christian School, and I love Jesus. I should mention that, yeah. I love Jesus. And yeah, I love singing. I love a few things. I love sports. I love writing. And I'm just so happy and honored and privileged to be here with you this morning. So to everybody in our different capacities, the religious leaders, the cultural leaders, district leaders, political leaders, community leaders, the education fraternity, the sports fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. Now I'm saying this because I'm hoping by the time I'm done saying good morning a third time, you'll be smiling. But you seem adamant. This morning I want to tackle a keynote on an important headline, again around GPV, which is why we are here, which I believe and you believe, or should believe by now, that is a very important topic that we ought to handle and address. So today we are going to look at our key address is going to be safeguarding as a shared responsibility. Now I've already said, forget the first title, I'm an educator. But I also love to be educated. I think that's the bit about being an educator. And I believe everybody in this room, whatever your capacity is, whatever your role is, we are all educators, right? Because one thing that I like to stress is that education is lifelong. Do we agree? It's when school is done, everything that happens, that I consider education, and which is why we are here. So we are going to learn together, unlearn together, relearn together, right? So we're looking at safeguarding as a shared responsibility. I want us to mark that as a keyword, shared responsibility. So one keyword is it is a responsibility, but I think the other keyword is it is shared. Now, there's so many technical people in this room. I don't want to speak as a technical person. I am not going to speak as a sports person. I'm not going to speak as a principal. I'm going to speak as someone who's passionate about humanity, passionate about children. So I'm going to speak from my heart. And to best drive this home, I'm going to tell a few stories. Who enjoys stories? Okay, who enjoys telling stories? Adam Ali and Mr. J. Okay, also. Some of you don't like telling stories. Yeah. Okay, who enjoys listening to stories? Okay, so listening is, you don't have a problem. I want you to have your notebooks and your pens, because as I tell this story, I'm going to ask you to do a few things with me. I'll start with a very good story. And you know what a story does? It paints a picture. So as I tell the story, I want you to paint a picture. I want you to imagine what I'm talking about. I'll start with the story of a girl. Now I want everyone to envision a girl. Everybody just envision a girl. I am going to give my girl a name, but I want you to think of a name that you could give that girl. Have you thought about a name? Because I'm going to come and ask you to share those names with me. Have you thought of a name? All right, let's name my girl. I'll call my girl Fatima, right? That's a very different name. Have you heard Fatima before? Okay, awesome. I'll call my girl Fatima. What is the name you're thinking?
Imelda.
Imelda, Imelda. I'll have a gentleman.
Lydia.
Okay, awesome. So everybody, I'm going to assume that now everyone has a name, right? Now, Fatima is a girl that enjoys school. She loves rugby. Your girl can love netball, or maybe basketball, or maybe volleyball, or kwepena, whatever it is, right? She enjoys these things. She also loves singing, so you'll find her in fellowship singing. This is Fatima. And she's got a big dream. She dreams of being a teacher. I don't know what your girl is dreaming, but your girl ought to be dreaming something. Now, as time goes on, Fatima changes. Things change around Fatima. This is my girl. She stops laughing with her friends. She stops turning up for practice. She starts missing school. And note this, these things are noticed, not by animals, not by trees. They're noticed by people. People notice these changes. However, life goes on. Is that true? Life always goes on, right? People continue living. Back at home, when Fatima tries to speak up, she's told, keep. She's told, keep. Do not bring shame to the. You do not disrespect your elders. These things will be handled from home quietly, isn't it? And so eventually Fatima completely stops speaking. Okay? She drops out of school. Jude, may you please just put that slide? When she drops out of school, these things again are noticed. Now ignore the slide. Let's stay with our story. So the thing is, when she drops out of school, do you think she's going to achieve her dream of being a teacher? The dream has ended. Now, did this dream end because the girl I just described was not talented? I beg your pardon? Please talk to me. Did her dream end because she's not talented? Is it because she was not smart? Is it because she lacked enthusiasm about school? No. Why did her dream stop? We're going to read that line together. I like active listening, okay? Can we read from here together? See from this, her dream? Okay, I'm gonna give us her count and we're all going to read. 1, 2, 3. Did not end because she was not clever. Her dream ended because the adults around her did not protect her. We're going to read again because I know that we can read louder than that. See, when you say these things out for yourself, it will stick. If you're talking about a shared responsibility, we are going to do this together. So I'm going to stand here and watch every lip move and say why Fatima's dream ended. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Her dream did not end because she was not clever. Her dream ended because the adults around her did not protect her. Now I'm going to give everyone 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you. 1 minute. In your notebooks, using your pen, do you know any Fatimas in your community? Could be in your school, could be in your sporting field, it could be in your household. Think of just 5 Fatimas and write down their names. Just write, my 5 Fatimas. And I'm waiting. 1 minute, then we continue with our story. Or maybe when you were growing up, you knew a Fatima. Now their name does not have to be Fatima. Write your names, those people. Do you know any, maybe in your neighborhood? Has somebody come and told you, oh, there's this child that's going through this? Or you could be the Fatima. Just 5 names. If you can go beyond 5, well and good, but just 5 is sufficient. Okay. And some people are now really thinking hard, yes. Just write Fatima, the girl. Just the girl, just 5 girls. And I know there are also boys, but just write me 5 girls. If you must challenge yourself, also write a list of boys to the side. That's very fine. Because you see, it's a child. At the end of the day, it's a child. So boy or girl, just write your Fatimas. All right. Our minute is up. Thank you. Now I want to just pose a question. It's rhetoric. Take time as we continue with this to think about this. We have said that her dream ended because the adults did not protect her. How many here are adults? How many can confidently say I'm an adult? I need to know. Okay, good. Right forum, I thought we have, babies. So we all adults. Awesome. Now ask yourself, this is rhetoric, just think about it. Have I been the adult that has had the chance to protect a Fatima? What have I done about it? Let's just keep it floating in your brain as we continue. So look, children do not need many adults. And I want to stress something about this. When we say children, your brain instantly only thinks about the the months old, or rather days old, hours old, babies up to the 17-year-old. And you leave yourself out. But remember, our discussion is safeguarding as a shared responsibility. Do adults also need to be safeguarded? Yes? Are we talking about gender-based violence? Yes. Is gender limited to children? Do adults also face violence? So simply because the wording is children, I do not want our focus to veer from self. That's why I said you could be the Fatima. Your mom could be the Fatima. Do you understand what I mean? All right? So what they need, children need just one adult who will listen and act. Can you say with me, children need just one adult? If by the way, if you speak, you won't doze. Children need just one adult. Who will listen and act. See, the listening is good, not listening to speak. Sometimes we listen with the agenda of when do I get that room to lecture you, to give you a pep talk. But I mean listening. Have you ever been listened to? But just heard. Nothing was said. You just spoke your heart out. You were heard, and then that's it. Anyone ever been listened to? Ah, awesome. Good. What a safe space. So that's what children need. Someone who will listen, but not just listening. We also ought to act. Now, I'll tell you another story. You said you like listen. The majority enjoy listening to stories. Was that a good story? Does it get us thinking? Are you thinking what you could have done if one that had this Fatima girl? Are you challenging yourself and thinking, yeah, I could have done this? Are you thinking about that? All right, then I'll tell you a second story. And this story is about a boy. Now we are thinking, boy, someone already asked me. I like these conversations. You know, a gentleman already said, this Fatima, is it just a girl? Can it be a boy? Because you're thinking, why are you excluding the boys? Now the story will feature a boy. So think of your name. And I'm going to call my boy Junior. I don't know what or who your boy is, but think of a name. Junior loves soccer or football, right? Kicking the ball. That's my Junior. Your Junior could be loving, again, basketball, could be loving table tennis, could be loving volleyball, name it. And Junior would be the first on the pitch for practice. Junior is talented, make no mistake, and he's very strong. However, Junior has grown up being told, be a what? Men, you know, be a what? Someone said it, be a? Yes, you know, be a man. See, the fact that you know, that's a good narrative. Junior has been told, be a man, and he's been told, men are tough. Men do not cry. Is that right? Are those correct narratives? Men do not show emotions, isn't it? Because emotions show weakness. He's been told men have to be in control. All right. Nobody has corrected this narrative around Junior. So Junior, back home, has witnessed violence. All he has seen at home in the community is violence. And then what he has seen as a community response has been silence. When someone starts to see silence, have you ever seen silence? How do you see silence? With your physical eye? Can you see silence? Is it possible to see silence? Sometimes yes. Okay, can you hear silence? I mean, it's silent, isn't it? So by the time you see it, it really is silent. So in his family, in his home, there is violence. In the community, there is silence. At school, no one is teaching him about respect or about integrity. That's Junior. So Junior grows up with these notions until one day he hurts someone. And when he's asked why, he says, well, that is all I was taught, isn't it? He grew up witnessing this. Now, go back to our notebooks and write for me 5 juniors. Surely you could know 5 juniors. Just write down their names. Okay? You've thought of some juniors? They could be big now. They could be your uncle, your neighbor, your dad, the shopkeeper, the barber, the student in your class, that boy that you're coaching on the field, your friend, could even be yourself. You could be the junior. Right? Can we read this sentence together? Sometimes, okay, on the 1, 2, 3. Sometimes children do not become harmful because they are bad. Sometimes they become harmful because no one showed them a different way. And I want to, when I think of the word sometimes, I feel like in our context, I even want to change it and say almost all the time. Okay? People are becoming harmful. Why? Because no one showed them a different way. Yesterday, in one of our engagements, I remember a gentleman raising a scenario, and it sat with me and slept with me, where he said it had to do with rape. He said they are road raped, more or less. It's like, oh well, if you dress in a provocative manner, what the man is thinking is rape. And another gentleman shared about his friend who was in prison. Do you remember those stories from yesterday? He was taken to prison. Why? Because he raped someone. When his friend asked, what did this one say? Who remembers what the response was from the prisoner?
He said that the lady would sit badly.
She would dress badly and sit badly. And so for him that meant rape her. Do you understand? But I also remember that Coach Regina then gave a juxtaposition later and said she has been in Europe. And I happen to have a few friends who are not from my culture. And sometimes they shock you. In fact, when they send me certain pictures, I have to view them alone first. They are normal pictures, okay? But if you find me viewing them, you might think I'm visiting. As an African, you might say, hey, I'm visiting a pornographic what? Site. Because they'll be in bikinis. Even me, sometimes I'm like, that's shock. I'm like, banage. Do you understand? Because it's not my normal, but that's their normal. Now, the two stories, the mindset behind that is, they grew up believing that if you expose yourself, any part of yourself, it means you're asking for sex. I'm a teacher, so I will say the words as they are, biology as it is. When I was a student, I didn't like to say those words, but now you really just have no choice, isn't it? If you are going to change the narratives, we're even going to have to address some of these things as they are. So, but you know why? It's because nobody showed them a different way. No one spoke into the gentleman's friend and the gentleman who was raising an inquiry to say that, look, if I step on your foot, that's my responsibility, right? But if you respond by punching me, that's your responsibility. Your response is your responsibility. Does that make sense? How you respond is your responsibility. You will not go to court and say, oh, well, I slapped her, and officers correct me if I'm wrong. I will not come and say, it's because they first beat me, so now I shot them. Does that count? Like, well, he hit me, so I shot them. Does it count? Do you say, oh, yeah, you're right, go home? It doesn't count, isn't it? So I would still have to give account. I would be held accountable, isn't it? Because it's my responsibility. But before I get to that understanding, someone has to teach me a different way. And these are the narratives we are fighting today. In this room, and hopefully out of this room into the spaces that we have been called into. See, the thing is, from Fatima's story to Junior's story, and why we are saying that safeguarding is a shared responsibility. Sometimes, have you had people who say, that's not my job. That's not my calling, for the Christian terminologists. It's not my calling. Me, I'm not a people person. I don't like to talk to people. I don't like to deal with people. I also have my own problems. Do you understand? After all, my children are okay. Let everybody fend for themselves. It's a narrative that is being spread a lot today. Is that correct? When that happens, these are the scenarios that we end up with, and even worse. So why are we sharing these stories? Because see, the thing with stories is, if you just share a story and you leave it there, have you done anything? Have you done anything with the story if you just talk about it? It just becomes another story. So there must be a reason as to why we are sharing these stories. And we are sharing these stories because Fatima and Junior, like we have said and like you have written, they are in our communities. They're in our schools, they're on our sporting fields, they are in our workspaces, they're in our churches and mosques. Am I lying? Even in the church and mosque, isn't it? They're literally everywhere. They're in our families, in our households. And what does this mean? Sometimes without knowing, we are the adults who are or were silent. It's very easy to sit here and say, what? Nobody helped Fatima. They realized she was missing class and they didn't reach out. But sometimes we are the adults. We are those adults. We see these things and we just move on because it is not your responsibility. Sometimes we are the adults who look away, right? How many times have you passed in a neighborhood and you notice something dangerously wrong and you're like, but I'm too busy. Oh, I also have my own baggage. You don't have to put up your hand, but you could mentally take, right? And sometimes we are the adults, like I've said, who are saying, it is not my role. But today we need to change that narrative and we need to say, can we read that together? Today we need to say, it is our role. How many of us? All of us. Can you tap yourself and say, sorry, I'm such a teacher, but I don't apologize. I'm unapologetically such a great teacher. So touch yourself and say, it is my role not to be silent and not to be an onlooker. Okay, it's our role to listen and to act, okay? So safeguarding is not for one person. It is not just for the officers. It is not just for the safeguarding officer. It is not just for the Human Rights Commission. It's not just for the coach. It's not just for the head teacher. It is everybody's responsibility. There's the sports world, there's the worship, for those who go to church or mosques, there's the whole community. So if only one place is kept safe, then we are not safeguarding our children. And even we are not safeguarded, all right? So safeguarding must be shared. It is not for just the school. Sometimes parents are just like, when is school starting? You take them back, you're like, now someone can do what? Now someone can breathe. It's not just the school's responsibility to safeguard children. It's not just police's responsibility to safeguard children or the community. It's not sports alone. It's not government alone. Nowadays, every problem is government's problem, isn't it? Everything that happens, who do we blame? This government. And you don't understand that you are part of the government. You make up the government, don't you? We always say the government, but it's not only their responsibility, it is all of our responsibility. And as I wrap up, let's just go through this together. See, in our community, sometimes this is what is said. We say, family matters should stay where? Speak with me. If I'm lying, you don't say it out loud. In our community, what do we say? Family issues stay in the? So you agree. Do not expose your what? Do not talk to? Teachers, do you have that student? They just will not stop talking. They've got something to say about anything and nothing, isn't it? And many times they're like, "Nayo no mwana, you get us stop talking. You do too much," isn't it? Even at home, they're silenced. Stop talking, don't talk too much. But you see, when silence is protecting abusers, then that silence becomes dangerous. To this day, you'd think we're in 2026, but in 2026 we still have stories where people are like, "I was abused, but I could not speak up." Even today, someone must be telling a child, "If you dare tell," you understand? You don't report your dad, you don't report your auntie, you don't report your coach, you don't report your teacher, isn't it? Because they've got control. But you see, that silence becomes dangerous. So protecting children is not disrespect. It is what leadership is. I was thinking about that statement, protecting children. I like to think of leadership because we're in a community where authority is, I don't know, our community, people love to thrive on power, isn't it? And sometimes you really wonder, who's a leader? Is it by virtue of age, position, or what you actually stand for? Me, I feel like values are what define leadership. I feel like, to me now, and understanding me, you could be the president, and if your values are questionable, for me, you would never be a leader. It just can't pass. And that's what we want to push for. That leadership is when we are protecting children, when we are safeguarding our communities. So what do children need adults? They need adults who will, now we're going to read this together. Everyone tap your neighbor and tell them we are reading, so please wake up. Tap your neighbor, be very intentional. That's how safeguarding starts. If you say, after me I'm paying attention, neighbor yamanyo, but I'm then you've already failed to safeguard. Can we share the responsibility? Tap your neighbor, we are reading, and make sure they read. So children need adults who, let's go, listen. Okay, we are going to start from listen. Children need adults who, 1, 2, 3, we go, listen without shouting. Just put a pause. Listen without. Wouldn't that be such a beautiful thing to just be heard? Without shouting. Ask yourself, am I that adult? Also, they need adults who? I beg your pardon? Muja kusoma. Adults who? They believe without blaming. Yesterday, I take us back to yesterday. Someone shared something. I don't know if someone already knows what I'm going to say. They said, you already know, eh? Somebody already knows. Someone shared a scenario very passionately and said, for us we had an adult child. I don't know where you people are looking. You look at me. You don't look for the person who shared. They were sharing the experience. They said they have an adult child who accused a what? A teacher. Now, do those things happen? Yes, sometimes children can lie, isn't it? Yeah, lies are lies. Those things happen. Does that then define who a child is? That every child who comes to me, I'm going to be, sometimes that's how I listen to children. They start, you're already like, so if they have a record, you're like, there's no way. Or if the teacher is your friend, you're thinking, there's no way, this child is lying. I'll give you a personal story. Whilst teaching at a certain school, a girl child, she must have been 12 then, went to the head of the school and said they'd been touched badly by a brother. The brother was a year younger. It was like a cousin, but they're brothers. And this child was blamed before being believed. The response was like, impossible. And then they asked her, what time did it happen? What were you putting on? Does that really matter? We've come back to the same point, isn't it? Is what the child is putting on at that point the problem? But how many times do we look for that? We look for, why, are you sure you did not do anything to provoke this? You did not? Is that the thing at that point? At that point, we are looking for belief without blame. At that point, the child is looking for someone who tells them. And I remember later, I didn't know this had happened, to cut the story, but a few hours later, I'm in class, I haven't seen the student, and I'm thinking they're running late. Well, I didn't know they were having a meeting. When she comes to class, she's crying, and I'm like, oh, why are you crying? We had a room where I would do like counseling and dance and stuff like that. And so I take her aside, I'm like, what's going on? And she tells me the story. And for me, when you come to me and you say, they slapped me, all I hear is they slapped me. I want to hug you. Then after that, I want to know now who slapped. So that I go and deal with who slapped, where did the slap come from? Not to deal them by slapping, but what happened. But I feel like sometimes our response to some of these things is first blame. You're looking for, you must have done something. But wrong is wrong. Do you understand? Wrong is wrong. My last example on this, please pay attention to my examples. I know an adult friend. They are an adult, so I'm being intentional by saying that. And this adult friend has experienced abuse of, I think, every kind. And so we went, recently, I asked them, sometimes you assume people know their rights. And I said, but you know your rights? They're like, no. So I'm like, okay, this is your right, this is your right, this is abuse, this is abuse, this is okay. I'm like, yeah, those are actually forms of abuse. I'm like, we go to police. So I go to police, not naming any names. Thank God I don't remember the names of the officers. But one of the person that we speak to, or rather that she spoke to, I sat at a distance and just watched the interaction. Oh my goodness, I felt so bad. I regretted taking this person to find help. Because whilst she's explaining, the person she's talking to is first of all not listening. How do I know? This one is talking, imagine, okay, talk to me. That's what was going on. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness. And then she comes back and says, eh? And I'm like, oh my God, where's the compassion? Where's the sympathy? Where's the empathy? Now you might be here now judging. Whoever it was, like, what? Before the what? Ask yourself, do you believe without blaming? Do you listen without shouting? They also need adults. These children also need adults. Oh la la. I don't know what I've done, but I've done something. Technical people, I don't know what I've done, but I've done something. Come and undo me. Come and undo what I have done. But they also need adults who act without delaying. They act without delaying. Sometimes something is reported, and it's one of the things the leaderships were discussing yesterday in my group, that sometimes the justice process is so long. I try. Thank you. It's so long that maybe you get tired. You get to the place where you're just like, it's okay, let me let it be. Do you understand? And sometimes we are the justice people. You drag the child and drag the person and drag the person until they even start to think, maybe I made up this abuse. Maybe it didn't even happen. Maybe it's not that serious. Let's be adults who act without. We also need to be adults, or children need adults that protect without gossiping. Now, I understand when someone says, Munage, they told me something and I cannot handle it on my own. I understand that even a therapist needs a therapist. But sometimes what we are doing is literal gossip. Like, you just get joy from dragging somebody's issue through the mud. It's not because you want to consult or you need help. It's because it just gives you a certain push. If you're consulting because you also feel like you cannot handle it, you don't know how to maneuver, that's a different thing. But when you're just being a telltaler because you enjoy the power it gives you, that's a problem, and you lose confidentiality. I've got so many stories on every point, but I need to be informed if I'm running out of time so that I am not over. Am I okay? Okay. So then I'll tell you the story. You said you like listening to stories. Why do you behave like Judas Iscariot? You say one thing and you change your mind. So we're talking about the gossip, right? So again, back to teaching. I mean, if you're here and you're whole adult and you don't have stories, I don't know what life you have experienced, but I've got stories. So I've got this student, we had a writing class that used to happen once a week. And so I said I love writing. And also, when I'm not dressed like formally, I really can camouflage to be like a teenager. Back then it was even easier. So we had a teacher assigned for these writing classes, and I went under the guise of a child just to understand what he's teaching and stuff like that. And so he didn't figure out I'm a teacher, and at school he didn't know me, so he couldn't put it together. He just kept saying, why don't you have uniform? And I'd be like, I'm gonna get the uniform. Now forgive me, I know you're judging me that I'm a liar. Okay, I had school permission to do that. Short story, or rather long story cut short, is we used to have readings. So you would be assigned, like, given an assignment, you write something on it, and the next time we meet, we do like a read. There was one particular student, and this student was a child that I'd known for a while because he used to come to my church. So I knew him from church, and now I knew him from school. And he was in my class. Very quiet boy, very reserved. Everything that you cannot penetrate was that child. So even when we would have readings, he would say, I didn't write anything. And he had this demeanor where you can't even press. You won't be like, like he just says it and you're just like, okay. So one morning in our class, we're starting with devotions. And I was going to lead devotions, and he walks up to me and he says, I want to read my story. Now, this is not in the reading class, or rather writing class. This is in our normal class. And I said to him, okay, cool, go ahead, because I'm like, Shy Boy wants to read this story. Shy Boy reads this story, and 2 paragraphs into it, I realize I know this story. This is this boy's personal story. And so I stop him, listen to this story where it's going to affect 2 things there. He finishes, he just read like a portion of it. And when he comes, I tell him, wow, good job, thank you for sharing your life with us. And he says, huh? I'm like, that was your life, right? And he says, you know. I'm like, I figured. Okay, so now he sits. We move on. We were close to the end of term. And so the term comes to a close, and he writes to me an email during the holiday, and he says, Miss Mutonyi, can I send you the rest of my story? This is the boy who does not talk, isn't it? So I said, sure thing. He sends me an email with the entire entire script. Now, this was the difference. When he was reading the story in the classroom, he had like pseudonyms for the characters. You know, like if I'm Lillian, he would call me Joanne. You know those things, where you're writing your things, but you're pretending that you're not the one. So now in the email, in the script he sent via email, he had literally done like an outlook where he says Joanne stands for Lillian. Peace stands for, like that's how vulnerable he got. Okay, that got me all mashed. I was like, oh, I read the story. This story was saying so much. This story was saying so much, but it was saying one thing. I need a father at home. I need a father in my life. That's all it was saying, but it was a long story. And so I started to put things into perspective. I'm like, okay. Term starts, and they are picking on this boy. Like every meeting is like, this child. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know the reason this child is acting out. And now I'm torn between, do I break confidentiality at this point? Like, how do I handle this? There were parts in that story that I could not show everybody, not even his parents, okay? So after one of the school staff meetings, when everybody had pinned the child, this child, I felt bad. And I spoke to my colleague and I said, I gave him a brief, and then I said, you're going to come with me to the principal. I need to find a way of helping this boy without exposing this boy. So we go to the principal and I'm like, I want to talk to you about so and so. And she's like, okay. And so like I beat her around. But you know, at this point, she's also wise. She has figured out, why did you know all this? So I'm like, yeah, you know, in writing class, he wrote a story. And then she goes, oh, can I have that story? I'm like, if you were me, what would you do? That's your boss. So now I was like, yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I'm planning. Now what do I do? If I give this entire story, I knew the parts that were going to get him in trouble. Unnecessary trouble. And so I went back and I just started to dodge the principal. I said, good morning and run, good morning and run, good morning and run. One day she called at me and she said, you have been dodging me. I asked for that story, send the story. I'm like, hey, I didn't send. I'm going to send the story. Dodged. One day she catches me again. She's like, I need that story. And I go, can't you see? Because she didn't understand IT very well. So I'm sorry, that was gender-based violence. I manipulated her. I was like, can't you see? My email, it crashed. So now, oh my goodness. Let me skip the nitty-gritty. End of term comes and we're doing like parent conferencing, and obviously for the good of this child, I still wanted to address this issue with the parent because there's a need, isn't it? It's a silent cry. And so at that point I tell my principal, I found bits of the story. I recovered a few things. You know what I had done? I'd taken screenshots of only the parts that are important and removed everything that will cause the child unnecessary trouble. And so I show her bits, and she read those bits for like 30 minutes. She would read and reread, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, give me my phone before you realize my email is working. It's okay, so then she gives me my phone back, and I conference with her parent academically, and I tell her we need to go and talk about something more personal. So we go. And for me, I just put it as it is. I'm like, okay, your child, ABCD, this is what they need. So the principal was like, yeah. He shared a story with her. I've seen bits. She's like, let me see the bits. I show the bits. We are talking about without gossiping. I was trying to find a way to keep this child's confidentiality, but also get him help. Now you can see how many personal values I had to violate along the way. Told a white lie here, a black lie here, a gray one here. Do you understand? And well, in the end, things didn't improve there and then. Obviously, the parent became defensive. They're like, yeah, nah, he was going to tell me, he was going to show me this story. I was like, side eye. But okay, you don't know side eye. Even you. Yeah, okay, I understand some, but side eye. So, end of story, he didn't get the help there and then. However, it's been probably 5 or more years now. He's doing well. He moved out of the country, wrote to me an email and said, I'm going to be giving you updates every day. He's kept his word. Like, I'll be minding my business and he'll be telling me, I'm doing okay. Today I'm not okay. But I also realized that with the parent, something has changed. She pretended not to listen then, but she paid attention. And he also paid attention to the fact, he realized that I told the mom. Because the mom later called him and was like, oh, aren't you going to show me that story? Show me that story. And he brought a story about planes crashing. I kid you not. A different story for the mom. And he said, this is one I was going to show you. That's when we realized he didn't intend to confide in her at that point. But he understood that I had told the mom at that rate. But I think he understood that I had not told the things that were his things. Okay? So let's be those adults. You can learn something from there or you refuse Guamani. Sometimes a child is testing that same child of mine, same boy. One day I'm leaving my classroom and I find a piece of paper folded in a very funny way, put on my table. It's suspicious. I'm like, if I find a paper, I'm first opening it to read. So I open it and I see a handwriting. So we had taught them to write in a certain way. Now he was writing in manuscript. I knew their handwritings in the calligraphy I have taught them. I could tell like this is who. Now manuscript, I'm thinking, that's when for me the red flag goes on. Please pay attention. If you know, if you're interested, you will know. If you want to know, you will know. My flags go off and I'm thinking, this must be a setup. Now I'm conflicted. When I look at the handwriting, the way the letters are formed, I'm thinking 3 students. I'm thinking either it's this girl or this guy, or could it be this boy? Also the content was someone revealing, like they were pouring out their heart. I'm struggling with ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. They didn't sign off. They only addressed me, dear Miss A, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. And for me at that point, I knew that I was being tested. Little did I know this boy was sitting somewhere watching me. Me, I'm standing there struggling. I'm like, now. And I think I really thank God for wisdom. Oh, we are not in church. Okay. I still thank him for wisdom. Because it hit me as like, I think I'm being tested. Whoever it is, they are sharing parts, but they want to know, do you know me? Do you care that much? Take it to your classroom, take it to your sporting field, take it to your workspace, your colleagues, take it to your family. Do you care that much to realize when your child who was bubbly has stopped being bubbly? Do you understand what I mean? When that child who used to say good morning has stopped saying good morning. When my nieces woke up and they were no longer saying good morning, I was like, that's a red flag. Because usually they wake up, I am not the morning person. They are morning people. They'll come and say good morning and give you a hug, because I'm not a huggy person. And so they like to make me uncomfortable. So when they stopped, I was like, me not a severe girl, I don't like these things. But I was like, why aren't they telling me good morning by force? And why aren't I being hugged by force? And so I asked them, why am I not being hugged? But you don't like hugs. I'm like, I don't like them. But I like to know that you're consistently you. Do you understand? Give them to me even when you come, because they can come and say, they can. But you still come. Do you get what I mean? So sometimes the child is really testing. So pay attention. Don't just say, oh, this child is just acting up. They're testing to know, do you care that much? Because if they know that you don't care, and children are very special. They know more, like the way they perceive things is like high level, top notch. And so they want to know, before I trust you, do you even care? Do you know me like that? Do you understand? And So now the question is, they're asking, is there one adult that I can trust? Tell yourself, I want to be that adult. To yourself first, and then to the people around you. Okay? Be that adult. So we as leaders, and everyone here is a leader, we have profound power. When we speak, you know what happens? People listen. Look at me standing here. And you're listening. If I live here and I don't think that I have a power as a leader, then I have a problem. But like when we speak as leaders, if any of you spoke, we'll listen. Isn't it? What you have to do is speak. Sometimes like yesterday there were so many conversations and I was thinking, have you spoken? Damali over there asked a question yesterday. So these are things, I'm a night owl. I don't sleep. I'm very nocturnal. And so in the night, my brain is like evaluating, like placing things. And so I was thinking about her question. She asked a question. She was like, what was your question about trust? If you don't trust the people, how do you build that trust? That was her question. And me, I was thinking, you see, for me, if something happens to me, my responsibility, my individual responsibility is to come to you for help. How you respond to my coming to you is your responsibility. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's something we need to be very bold about, because whether we like it or not, even in the perfect, quotation mark, perfect situation, there is always brokenness. Now, if we say we are never going to act or react because there's brokenness, you will forever never act or react. If I say I will never speak out because the system is broken, there's no trust, guess what? You will never speak up, and then it kills you. So your responsibility is do it. How they respond is not your responsibility. So when we speak, people listen. So when we say that we're reporting abuse when we say reporting abuse is right, then what happens? Abuse reduces. Stigma reduces. I am so sorry. Let me read this the right way. I missed a comma. When we say reporting abuse is right, stigma reduces. You remember the adult I told you? They were reporting their family. Can you report your family? Has anyone in this room ever been abused by their family? Munimbe. You have. Have any of you ever reported your family for abuse? Yes. Some of you did. Bravo. But some of you who didn't, why didn't you? Stigma. You're like, how can I report my own mother? It's the truth. You people, it's the truth. The way we had to form a whole big committee to convince this adult that, because now they were suicidal, they are asking for antidepressants as if it's Panadol. You understand? And we're like, that's abuse. But they're thinking, how do I report my mother? And I shame my clan. But you know, when you die, when you put that rope around your neck, whose life is lost? Whose dreams are cut short? So when we say that reporting abuse is right, that stigma will reduce. But also you who are saying, are you also abusers? Are you abusers? Sometimes, isn't it? Do you want to be reported? You don't want to be reported. Now, when you're the stigma, do you see what I mean? Even you don't want to be reported. Because even we are abusive, all of us here. Maybe not to that extent, but everyone is abusive to a certain degree. And we don't want to be reported. But when will that reduce? So, but when we say that it's right, the stigma will reduce. And we'll have more people coming out. I think of late you've seen that people have been more bold about their stories, about calling out their parents, calling out the things that were not right. This was done to me. It wasn't right. And now people call them, these entitled kids, this generation, it's entitled. Are you part of those people? Yes. Very good, honest man there. That's a gentleman, he's being honest. We are sometimes the ones saying, entitled. Who are you? But then the stigma will never reduce. And then we will never stop being abusers. All right. So when we say protecting girls and boys is everyone's duty, the culture changes. We are protecting who? Boys and girls. And when we normalize that, the culture will change. When we act quickly, what grows? And that's how I know who's paying attention. When we act quickly, what grows? Trust grows. Because then I realize, when I go to this person, I get help. I'm blessed with a wonderful family. For us, you just say, they act. They don't first say, now wait, let's first process it. What do you mean? They act. When I say family, it's like beyond blood. I've got friends. It's a beautiful community. But if I also don't grow that community, then I've made a loss. Like they have made a loss. So we need to act quickly. Don't dilly-dally, don't sit. You drag your feet. Sometimes it's a thing of, I'm not being paid to do this. Am I lying? Like it's not on my pay slip. Nowadays, that's the mentality. I do as my JD states. My job description is, don't you go to the other person. Come on. Then the stigma and the vice just keeps growing. But if we leave this place knowing that it's a shared responsibility to safeguard, then we won't be in those places anymore. And then you may never meet the child whose life you change. Do you know that's true? You might never meet the child, but because you empowered someone, or you did right by someone you raised, or you did right by yourself, you have changed a life out there. They will never know that it started with you, but it did. That's a beautiful blessing, right? And of course, that child will live differently because you acted. So if you act today, in 20 years, the child who's born in 20 years, when probably some of us are dead and long gone, or alive but somewhere else, whoever lives in the community we have empowered today will live differently. Isn't that a worthwhile legacy to live? Right? Right? All right. So let's just share this together and think about it, because we've said it across. If Fatima was your daughter and if Junior was your son, would you want silence? Parents speak. Even the ones who hope to be parents, you just project it. If Fatima was your daughter and Junior was your son, would you want silence? Really? No. Okay. Would you want action, or you would say, Kale, I've heard you need to be the care. What would you prefer? Action. So remember, we said we listen and we act. Every child deserves the protection that we give our own children. Honestly speaking, and the more I grow, the more I realize this. Every child deserves the protection you give your own child. Sometimes we are so quick to judge another's child. You're like, this child doesn't see the way because you think yours are. But that's also a child. They also deserve that protection. Some of the things that I can tell you, a hint I can give parents that I do, that I've encouraged, especially in my nieces and nephews. You realize I keep saying nieces and nephews. Those are my babies. Even when we go to a place of worship, even when it's a familiar place, they know that if they're going to the washroom, they go in pairs or 3 of them. It's just what it is. That's how well I've told them also, safeguard yourselves, isn't it? If we're not going to walk there and say, because we're at church, we are very safe. No. Because I have not had a chance to talk to every church member. 2 minutes. Thank you. Wonderful. I'm concluding. So now, we are all going to make these promises. So we are making these promises. Touch your neighbor. It's the time to sit upright. Tell them stop slouching. Sit upright. We are making promises. Are we ready? Are we ready to promise? I'm about to make us stand up just for the sake of standing up. Could we please stand up? The power of leaders. You stood. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Some people have refused to stand. Now I'm going to make you do something that I do with my students. Is that okay? I'm teaching you something cool. You put your right hand across your chest like this, and then you lift your left hand. Now leave it there until we made these promises. We are pledging. If you fail on any of them, remember why your hand came here. Now let us promise. We promise to 1, 2, 3 to listen seriously. 2 to protect confidentiality. To work, to act, to never ignore warnings. Let's read that again. To never ignore warning signs. Because when we let children suffer. Let's say that again very loud. Because when we let children suffer. Now, if you don't do it, tell yourself, I don't know. Where's my heart? So years from now, people will not remember these workshops. Do you understand that? Yeah, years from now, even this hotel might not be here. Well, we pray that for longevity for the hotel, amen, and it's bigger. But years from now, they won't say, oh, they were in that hall. They will remember. What will they remember? 1, 2, 3. Who protected children? Who? And who? Who would they remember? Who protected? We are going to read that last paragraph together. 1, 2, 3, we go. Let us be leaders who protected children when it mattered. Because when we protect children, we protect families, we protect communities, we protect the future. Yes, you tell yourself, I am proud of myself for loving children. Now if you're lying, tell yourself if you know it's true. I am proud of myself. If you're here, it means you love children, isn't it? And for loving humanity. So thank you everyone for standing for safeguarding, and thank you for standing together. Let's leave this room knowing that safeguarding is a shared responsibility. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, our head teacher, for that wonderful session. So we are going to be having different head teachers for our sessions. So we are all students. There are a few things I also learned. It was a wonderful session. We can please clap for her once again. And I know in Uganda, we have a tendency of, if we are to begin at 9, we wake up at 9. So I wanted to use this moment so that she uses that time without rushing hers. The rest of our people, the latecomers, also do what? Find us, okay? So for those that were saying, our time was supposed to be now having a health break, I don't know what. Our health break was promising. So I hope we all know the promises we've made. They used to tell us that do as I say, not as as I do. But now they are telling us to do as they what? As they say, or as they do. One thing I picked from what Ms. Mutoni said, number one, we are harmful because no one showed us a different way. Some of us are very rigid. Like me, I was told this is it. I usually use examples, and I'm glad that most of us teachers love that kind of approach to pass on a message. I have a parent. I won't say if it's the lady or the man. I will say I have a parent. Never know, it might get to them, and then I get home and I'm not safe. But anyway, since I'm also still a child, they said we are all children. But she has, and it took me a while to understand how she sees the world. But this statement made me remember one time when we were like, I think that parent of mine sees the world that way because that's what that parent of mine was told, introduced to. And so, number one, that parent of mine didn't get a chance to finish school because that parent was raised by the step family. So the parent every time was cooking food, taking the goats and the sheep to the grounds for food. And remember, you have to do this as you go to school. So the way that parent sees the world, at times you can say something and they give you a response and you're like, These days now we have WhatsApp and this AI. She can send you a video. I've now said she, anyway, it's my mother. She can send you a video and you're like, Mommy doesn't know that this is AI. So now you're like, how do I start to tell Mom that this is AI and it is not a true story? And you see, it is going to take you the whole day. But it took me a while that for now my younger siblings, for them they be saying, for you understand, Mommy, you listen to her. For us, we try to explain, she won't understand. But when she said that statement that we are harmful because no one showed us a different way, I try to imagine that example of how she was raised and now how she has raised her kids and the perspective what she has in life. So that's why some of these things, we know them. I think last year we talked about boys being told, you have to be a man, not being vulnerable, man up, don't cry, it will make you weak, and all those things. So it's really a powerful message, and thank you for that, Mutoni. The other statement was believe without blaming. That one. I think we need a lesson on that. Because in Uganda now, by the time they are believing you, you have a full TikTok on your things, and you're like, the entire community has blamed you. By the time even to come out to say a thing, it is too late. And the other statement was on reporting our families. I reported mine to God. I couldn't go to any authorities because the authorities would also laugh at me. So I just told God, you know, you're the one who, you put me in this family, so you deal with them. I am not going to waste time here. They are your people. I reported to God. Was that bad or good? It was good. So reporting to God is what I did. Anyway, I feel that session has also taken us to our next session, which I feel is very informative, and it's a learning. One thing I've seen in some of these things we do when we get older, that learning never ends. If you come in with the mindset of I know it all, you will miss at times very important points that are really useful in this life that we live. And the way the world is turning around, when we have heads like Trump, trust me, you need one another, and you have to continue learning. So I feel the next session is really going to be wonderful because we get to listen to some of our community leaders, and we also get to have a chance to challenge them with some questions. Because maybe some of them might have come here and they have programmed answers. So now when you ask them questions, maybe it also changes the narrative a bit, and they also ask themselves and they're like, oh, okay, maybe that's a good approach to look at. Like I said, I'll always remind you, can we smile? Yes. No one has died. No one has died, colleagues. No one has. Everything will be okay. So the next session is going to be one of us having the panelists here, okay? And, okay. I'm being told that I'll give you the break. The break will come. I need to prepare you to what is coming. You know, these days Uganda and said, "That warning, no one gave us a warning sign." So I'm preparing you what is coming. Then as we try to have a break, you prepare your mind. Eh? Because now you are being told to stand up and swear. Now I need to first prepare your mind where you're going. You're not swearing and promising. Okay? But anyway, the session will have panelists. There will be 4 of them. We'll have someone from the police. So we will have someone from, of course, the police, our police Uganda, police representative, and of course, they are a key actor in receiving reports, ensuring immediate protection, guiding cases through the justice system. You know those things. So we look forward to hearing, you know, how police reporting pathways work, and, you know, how communities should expect when a concern is raised. Of course, the other person that will be on the panel will be a probation officer, and of course, they play a critical role in child protection, survival support, and coordination of services after a report is made. So we are eager to understand how probation supports survivors. I'm pretty sure most of us are survivors here. You know, the funny thing is most of us don't know at times we've been abused. we take it that, oh, why, that's how life is, that's how we were raised, we move. And then later on they tell you the definition of abuse, the definition of safeguard, and you're like, my whole life I have been abused. Wow. We've grown up with a lot of trauma. And I usually tell people, if you want to know that Uganda, we need really prayers at times, we need, I think, divine help. You look at people when we are going to work in the morning. I usually tell people, use that opportunity and see people in their cars. For those that even who are couples, you'll even see these ones are happy, these ones are not happy. Some people can be in a husband and wife, or wife and husband, and they're all And you're like, Can't they talk? What is it? Then others, you see them, they're in the car, they're just enjoying their music, they're in the jam. When you're like, this one is having a good time. Then others are just looking at everyone while they're driving. And you're like, then those who walk, you will know, because there is one who's just going to cross the road. There are those who will be careful, left, like they told us, right, then left again, then you cross. Then there are those who won't follow the road sign. So that's why I'm saying, in the morning you can just know how someone's day is going to be. So it's really important that we listen to these people. Of course, the other team will be from the side of our community leaders, and like we said already, we've heard from one of them, but then we'll be having the opportunity to hear from them as community leaders, how they act, how they respond, and their purpose in this section that we are going to be talking about. So we will be discussing community reporting and survival support, and I feel it will be really a good session. So before I invite our panelists, I would love us to just, I won't say we stand up. We shall remain seated, but it's going to be just a quick icebreaker, okay? Which I feel will help us to prepare for the session. And there will be questions, but in form of a game, okay? And I'm going to start with this side. And I think when this side hears, they will think they will copy. No, the marking guide will change. So we start with this side, okay? And I'll be looking, let me even stand at this vantage point so that I see people very well. Yes. So, if you know the name of your neighbor, put up your hand. Neighbor. You see, I told you, if you want to know how someone's day is going to go, how they are doing, you see how they take life. Now I asked a question. Do you know your neighbor's name? Someone is saying who? The one at home? In the village? So, and I like what you said, because it takes me to the point I really wanted to put across. That at times if a question is ambiguous, we will all have different. So someone for me says, my neighbor is the person where in the house. Now I don't know when for you are saying I do, your vows were saying you will be my neighbor for life. I don't know. In your bed, the neighbor, okay, anyway. You learn something new every day. So this side showed us they know they are people. They are neighbors, they are neighbors, is the word we are using. So we go to this side. Are you ready? You ever ready? Never ready. I will report you to the officers then. So your question is, today there is a 5-letter word that we started with in the morning. Guess the 5-letter word. We've been saying it a lot. 5-letter word. Headache. We shall pass a punishment. Girls, you've tried. But, yes. The only reason why I'll give the side 90% is because when they said the word, they were all smiling. They were all smiling. So clap for us all. So this side, they are neighbors. This side, they are smiling. So if you want your neighbor to know you're happy, what do you have to do? Smile. So if your neighbor is not smiling, they are not neighbors. That's our conclusion today. They have problems. But are you responsible for them? Anyway, we would love to welcome our panelists for today, and we would love to enjoy this session. I will try and make it an interactive one. We will have the first bit of it where I will ask them questions, but then we will also use the second bit of it where you'll also ask them questions. We want to keep it interactive. You not only see the Mandevu guy, then you only see, but we hear also. Some of you could be very good Chimeza people. You could ask good questions, which could be very useful for us. So would love to welcome ASP Edith. I might keep the surnames to myself because some of us are parents. When they were naming us, the names they gave us are a bit difficult. But you bear with me, and if I say it wrongly, when we give you the microphone, you will correct us, so that I also learn. So we'd love to welcome ASP Edith Irakunda. Is that it? Clap for myself. And she will tell us who she is. Of course, we would love also to welcome Madame Rita Chimboa, of course, from Entebbe Municipality. Then, of course, we would love to welcome Mr. Ngudo Robert. And then, of course, we welcome Mr. William Mutu Shabe. If I've mentioned your name, please can you join us at the front here. I was going to say they put some music, and I remember people might think it is a party. So now let us just clap for them as they join us. This mic was having some reaction. I hope it does not shame me. I was even going to talk about it, but thank God that the beginning, don't worry, Chair. I like how they have balanced themselves. I was waiting to see, but they have now killed my introduction. So but anyway, we welcome you, our panelists. Please, a disclaimer, we are not putting you there to judge you. We are not welcoming you there, as they said, to blame you. We are going to believe what you tell us without blaming you. That is the, I think the announcements. Oh, okay. Another mic just to help. And this is the one you want. Ah, good. The color you want. Anyway, that will be a nice breaker for the afternoon session. Not the other side. Oh, that one. Ah, hallelujah. So we welcome you all to this important session, and it's on community reporting and survival support. And our focus today is practical. I know most of the times we love talking about certain things, but then we leave them in just conversations on these panels, workshops, and meetings. But I feel to deal with the different individuals we have before us, I feel we shall have a practical response more than just a textbook response. And I feel it will help us in understanding how concerns are reported, what happens after reporting, and how we ensure survivors are supported safely and respectfully. And my question will go to the four of you. Of course, Chair has said the ladies will start, which is fine. Or it will be Kasavu Kanyama, lady, a gentleman, then a lady. Okay, that is best. Eh? But the first question would be, what does community reporting? The first question, of course, would be, what does community reporting mean in practice? But before we get there, as you also think about that response of what does community reporting mean in practice, we would love to hear from all of you. You introduce yourselves, who you are. Are you still a child or you are an adult child? You were saying. But then we'd love to know who you are so that we can also know who we are listening to. So, you're welcome.
Thank you. ASP Radkunda Edith, Community Liaisons Officer, Entebbe.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Since I'm immediate neighbor, I think I can follow. As I earlier on introduced myself, I'm Mutashawa William, a teacher by profession, but now a senior citizen by practice. And currently on the executive committee of LC1, Katabi Namate, LC1, Division A, Katabi Ward.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, that said, we interchange, but then I already have the mic. You'll excuse me, I'll have to introduce myself first. My name's Ngudo Kenny Robert, a lawyer by profession, but an educationist by calling. I'm the director, Victorian High School, the institution you see close to St. Mark's Church, just in Entebbe town. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A pleasure to have you here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Chimbo Rita Christine, Probation and Social Welfare Officer, Entebbe Municipal Council.
Pleasure to have you here. So yes, we all know who they are now. So when you have your questions, you know where to. So as we kick off this session, like I said, we had raised the question that what does community reporting mean in practice? So SP Edith, I think we shall take the honor to hear from you first.
Community reporting means a lot to us as readers, us as police. I'll talk basing on my field as a police. It is through community reporting that information is shared, and through the information sharing, we get to know what is happening in the community. Back to our topic, GBV. It may be happening in the community and you don't know. And we know, like we have learned, many of us are victims, but coming up to speak may be a problem. So in most cases, we get information through community reporting. Take an example of the sensitizations we have in our communities. There you're free to talk. And when you're talking, as an officer, I know how to pick the information and how to package it and take it to the station. But we encourage that reporting not to stop at that level of the meeting, but to carry it up to the station. And in most cases, we have failed as an institution because it stops there. In the community, you talk and you don't want to come out. Sometimes you fear to be pointed at. If they hear me talk about a domestic issue in Radukunda's family, how will it be? If I'm called to be a witness there, how am I going to witness it? Yet, I'm not directly part of the family. And in most cases, we see victims suffer because of that fear. What am I going to say and what am I going to report? For example, in families, I've seen women come, instead of reporting assault or domestic violence direct to her, she will come and tell you, no, I was knocked. It's an accident. She's carrying a broken leg or a hand, but she'll tell you it's an accident. And when you go out there to the community members are always good. They will openly tell you, yes, Edith can fight with John from morning to evening. They can even close the gate, they fight from inside. We hear from outside the gate. So it's very, very important to collaborate with the community so that we get information, because I know our community members are dedicated and they are willing to share once you be close to them.
Thank you so much, ASP Edith. And just to follow up with what you've said, I think I've picked two things. One is the fear to speak, and of course, the other bit is to do with sensitization. And I, for one, I think even members in the audience will have a chance to ask, but I think one of the things maybe I feel that is, because you also said you have a challenge as an institution, and I think for me it may first go to the bit of maybe the sensitization, the communication, who is getting the information, who's passing it on. I don't know if our communities still have those local announcers where you would be sleeping and you just hear someone talking, today there is a meeting for the day. But most people just hear them shouting, stop making noise for us, go, don't you have a bed? Yeah, you know. So are they using such announcers in the community, or is the police setting up, you know, a mass sensitization drive that we are letting you know that this is what is happening, come to us, talk to us? How is it done?
Thank you so much. As police, we collaborate with local leaders, the LCs, and we have got a platform between the police, the LCs, and the councillors. And in that, we have formed very many WhatsApp groups where we communicate from. So in case of any community sensitization meeting, information is forwarded there and they are able to organize. Then also we have got these local radios. For example, In almost all the villages we have around Entebbe, I think 1 or 2, there is a local radio. If I take example of Katabi, we have one at Katabi Busambaga. If I take this other example of Division A Runyo, we have one at Runyo, Abaita we have, Kasenyi we have, Chitolo we have. So all those help us to mobilize the community as we sensitize them. Then also when I go top, we have got airtime from radios and stations, TV stations. We have very many, only that most of the radios don't reach in Entebbe, particularly, but in Wexo. When you're there on the TV, on the radio, people are able to listen. And those radios and TVs, we don't pay as us. It's airtime given to us because of the good cooperation we have with the managers. Then also, if I go to schools now, schools have opened. We have also that good working relationship. For example, I will not wait for the head teacher of Victorian to invite me, but I will know it is also my responsibility to go and talk to them. So among the programs I will make, I will fix at least in a term to visit at least 5 schools, be it primary, secondary, and these other tertiary institutions, so that information is spread.
I like that, and I hope that our audience is listening to some of the ways this information is being passed on. So if you're not getting it, then you will know why you're not getting it. Either you don't have data, either you don't have a TV, or you have no radio. Because they have mentioned the ways they are doing what? Sensitizing. So if you're not getting this information, you either don't have, the class has gone quiet. You don't have a phone, so you're not, maybe you don't have airtime or data. You don't have a TV because they have said they also use TV. You don't have a radio because they use radio. And I think you're among the community members who are always in their houses because they have said they have also the local what? Radios. So you don't check with what? With your community. So on that note, they mentioned that they work together with the local council. And I would love now to hear what Mr. William will have to add onto our question of what does community reporting mean in the perspective of now, let's say, the local council.
Thank you so much. To me as a lay person, I would simply say community reporting is what happens or takes place in the community. And in this case for us, as a leader, we look at community reporting as something that either negatively happens or positively happens. For instance, in most cases, there are certainly happenings that are positive to the community, but the nature of our community as we have it, we don't take much to report about them. Yet some of such happenings may have an impact, positive impact onto the community. However, there is a tendency of looking at mainly what negatively impacts on society. However, some of the reporting that takes place may be through a whistleblower, because the tendency is, in most cases, people want and fear to be blamed. On a neighbor wange, but such and such a thing is happening. Abana banywa enjaga, naye bw'arantegeera nti nze nkoze eki, nze njogedde, nyamba buyambi, mbabuuliddeko. So people fear to take that responsibility. Now, when it comes to sharing with the police, Madam Police Officer, it's good you're here and your team. We used to be very active when the police posts. For example, we used to have one around Katabi near the Hindu temple there. Whenever a number of issues would rise up, at least before the LOC gets to know. The police is aware and would get information from police. This, in a way, try to help us as far as community reporting is concerned. Police would immediately notify us, and together would take action so as to help keep sanity in the community. But when the police post was removed, people either go to where Katabi Town Council headquarters used to be, the current Gombrola headquarters, or they go directly to police. We are sometimes notified or at times not, depending on the gravity of the matter. Therefore, when it comes to such issues, I would probably say, if it is happening in your communities, and I'm appealing to police, that since you've mentioned that there's that kind of collaboration, I beg that the collaboration, other than stopping at a certain level, it should at least be strengthened by, instead of having only the chairperson's phone number, every one of the committee needs to be notified. Secondly, I'm sorry I'm bringing out a scenario. Currently, I'm no longer, when I was still vice chairman LC1, because I was directly concerned with children's affairs, at least a number of issues would be reported to me and would collectively take action depending on the gravity of the matter. Where it needed that we had to solve such issues without involving police, looking at the gravity of the matter, we would solve it so as to help keep sanity in the community. Because the moment you would begin mentioning police, people tend to they still have that fear of police. Am I wrong? They still have that fear. I told the same police. The truth is that people fear to involve police because they think there is money. That issue is there, madam, of money. You may not be the one, but some of your colleagues demand for it. Have you heard from the responses from the community, the participants? I've liked them because they are active participants, not distant observers.
They called it a safe space. We are safe here.
Otherwise, as far as we are concerned as LOC, we would love to collaborate and would call upon members, even when you go to your communities. Let us not only report the negatives, but also the positives. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for that concluding remark. And I believe those that laughed are the ones that would love to have the twins. And please sensitize the local council that you're now 3, or you become 4 in your home rather than just 3 or 2. But there's something you talked about, Chair, the word whistleblower. And as I've grown, I've come to discover that a whistleblower is someone who also at times is double standard. Because when the narrative benefits them, they may not whistleblow. But when the narrative doesn't benefit them, they will whistleblow. Because I've discovered at times that in our community, like the community setup, you find that this whistleblower is someone who's receiving a lot of, should I say even support, from the person they want to report. Now they're imagining, if I report and said Mandev is the one who reported, my drink in the evening won't be coming as usual. So now I won't report, So how do you handle such instances? Because I know most of us know it. It's natural that people won't want to come out, when they say something. But then there is a really need to really protect them, but then they don't want to come out. I would love to know, you as now the local council, how do you handle such a situation? Do you say, okay, you tell us where the case is, we go there and try to use our ways? How do you handle such a situation?
In most cases, I think, I will not say I think, in most cases what we do, when we get such information, and when we don't want to disclose where we got such information, we normally try to carry out our independent investigations, because in most cases we also tend to rely on one thing is tosala gwakawala nga tonakola ki. And then on top of that, maybe in a way there are tricks you use. I'll give an example. When I was still vice chairman LC1, I remember vividly very well. There was a person within almost my neighborhood. She was a stepmother. And she was left in charge of a young child. And then all of a sudden, she started mistreating this child. One of the immediate neighbors within, I will not disclose the place because the place is so near, reported. She even gave us a clue. During such and such a time, that is when she normally does such a thing. Just learned. That helped us. We didn't want to assume that what she has told us is the right thing. We did as she advised us. We went, indeed, as we were carrying out what they thought were our routine. Checkups, and what have you. Later on, we found the lady in the act. To tell you the truth, we had to rescue the child. But this lady did not know that we had got a tip from one of the immediate neighbors. And she was also there. But for us, we knew that she had disclosed this to us. We really helped the child. And what we immediately did, we had the young lady actually. We had to take her to police. We didn't have a police post by then. But later on, we also notified the husband who was away, who did not know that the child was being mistreated. That is how we protect.
I love that story and live example. So if you're there and you want to be a whistleblower, they have given you the tactics you can use. Don't die with the problem. We have already, from the local council, from the police, they have given us ideas on how to report your case and how you can handle it. So we've heard from the local council, we've heard from the police side, and I feel it would be nice we get to hear from the side of the probation officer. From their perspective, okay? How do you coordinate with police, with local council, schools, health services, the different sections, departments in our community in order to, handle that bit of reporting, community reporting? A case has come to you or something has come up. How do you play your role to ensure that these survivors really survive?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To me, community reporting, when as a victim, a guardian, or a parent, anyone responsible comes up with information to us, we get to know that they want some help or support from the authorities above. So to me, what I do, sometimes to me, I have structures. I deal with the local, the LCs, LC1, the police, and the court. So in this case, every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I have attend the police. I have to go to police in the morning to identify the victims, to know the victims, and get to know the files of the suspects. So my work starts from there. I have to go down to the ground, to the LCs first, introduce myself to them. I'm in their area. Why am I there? Ask them about their family, whether they know the suspect, what they know about the victim, and what really happened, what led to what happened. I go down to the family, then I start my investigations. I make what we call a social inquiry report that I present to them. I give a copy to police, they attach to the file, then I take a copy to court, then still I have to attend court.
I love the structures you just mentioned, and I hope I'm not alone because I'm learning something new, and that's why I love for me such sessions, because I'm pretty sure if I ask all of us here, how many, maybe yesterday they got to know so they may drop the answers, but if I was to ask a question here, how many know about a probation officer? Nga you knew, apart from today, Nga you knew that a community has a probation officer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, aren't you putting up your hand because the neighbors put up the you know. But still I can see most of us don't know. So you've had her every morning. She wakes up, she goes, she sees what she has to work with. And I liked the statement of I have to go on ground. Lately we just use words as Ugandans in each maybe moment of life, and lately we've been using words like enda ku ground or sange chiriyo. So our officer here said she goes to the what? The ground. And she does something I find that many of us tend to ignore in the life we live in these days. Mutonyi talked about it. Elsie has also talked about it. The word of fact finding, which resonates back to the word she told us of listening, and the key word was what? Believing. And if you're doing fact finding, you're trying to help us believe what has been reported, what has been said. So I really like that you mentioned that bit of fact finding, and I know from the audience many might have some questions regarding that, and that moment will come. But I would love to know, have you found any challenges basically in that moment of fact finding to know that is the suspect this, is the victim this? What challenges have you really found?
They are lies. You find the victim might lie because the brother beat her while they were eating food and said, "Mommy, when I was sleeping, so and so came to my bed and did this to me." So you have to sit with them and really find out the way you know you can get the truth according to the way you talk to them. Then the victims also lie. You come to police, you find a different name. You go to the ground, you find a different name, and the mother knows a different name. So it's very difficult for us to really know what's the truth. Because now the victim, the suspect might tell you that, you know, to me, we were sitting just in the sitting room and just pulled her dress. Then she went and reported to me. But when you go to ask maybe the maid tells you a different story. That leads to what has been being done every night before they sleep. Yes.
Interesting facts, and I like how the audience reacted when you said the word "they are lies." Eh? And the beauty of it is that we got a real reaction, which even tells, I would say, our panelists.
Sorry, and another challenge.
Yes.
Some parents don't want to open up.
parents.
You look at mothers. I'm happy for some mothers. They report through the another child of their village levels.
Yes.
Or to their neighbors. And in this case, they are reporting their fathers to their children. But some mothers do not want to open up because they know their boys are going to be taken into prison. Yes.
Very, very true, very true. And I like the direction we all took. Number one, we say this is a safe space. Number two, our panelists are very honest. They are saying the facts. And I'm pretty sure also in the audience, you're taking in the notes and you will have an opinion later on. And to be honest with you, it is always a thin line when it gets to handling such cases. And I think for me, the key word here is trusting God to give you the strength, the wisdom to discern and know that this is the what? The right path you're taking. Because honestly speaking, it is really a thin line. And I know the lies, the truths, the dishonest that you face on an early morning, at times we can't define that, but it's good that you've told us, and it's really something that is challenging, but we hope that God continues to guide you. And now let's bring in, the school environment where many disclosures begin, And I know our panelist knows exactly when I say where many disclosures begin, because he also said he's a lawyer in his other life. And I would love to understand, how do schools link with community reporting structures? Because at times schools have that arrangement of this is our thing, they create their own community, their own, society in there. And at times it is difficult to penetrate through such structures. But as a director and also the background of being a lawyer, how do schools link with community reporting structures? You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. For starters, I really loved Lillian's approach to how she engages with these children, and the approach she actually gave us on how to manage these children with stories. I have a lot of stories, quite a lot. If I began, I would never stop, to be honest. Community reporting really is a very big one, if I should say. But in most cases, to us who are in authority or in positions of administration, it is always based on how you have positioned yourself, how approachable you are, how accessible you really are, especially to the people who are supposed to be coming to you to report, and how responsive you really are. I'll give an example of a field that I know very well, or that I'm in. In fact, even before that, I'll give you a simple scenario. If a child told their sibling that I'm going to report you to mommy. We've grown up seeing these things and hearing them. I'm going to report you to mommy. It means there's something in between that has gone wrong that needs to be addressed, but I can't address it myself. I think somebody bigger than me will be in a better position to handle this. And if I told you I'm going to report you to mommy, then it means, there's some bit of trouble you've created. But in most families, if this child dares tell the other that I'm going to report you to daddy, then you're in more trouble. You know that the problem that you've really created is really massive, and the immediate person that is always close at home may not be in position to handle that, but the ultimate is this guy that you don't want to face if you have any problem you've caused. So it is the same thing in communities. When somebody tells somebody, or one person tells the other that I'm going to report to police, or if I saw police come into my compound unannounced, I know that is trouble. And that is really big trouble, because the first thing I'll really ask, is there a problem? You know, so why are you coming to my home unannounced, or something like that? So where does this all, put us as people who are supposed to be engaging in reporting in communities? If we've not had the authority come closer to us, it becomes too hard for us to give them what they need to get from the communities. For me, in my office, if you saw me in my school, I'm the easiest person to access. That is how I've positioned myself. I've made it so easy for every child to come and tell me whatever, even just saying hi to me. You know, if you came around, you would wonder whether, it is a class teacher's office or something like that, because I give them that platform to be open and to actually open up on what is happening around them. I reach a point where I get to know even things that I'm not supposed to be knowing as a director. But because I have positioned myself in a position where this child feels comfortable to come and inform me of what is happening, either around their lives or around school. So when it comes to reporting, it basically comes back to us, who really need to get the information. How have you managed to position yourself to allow the community to access you and give you the information you'd wish to get from them?
Thank you so much, sir. I like the keyword of positioning yourself, and I feel it is something that we must be intentional about, because when you position yourself right, you become accessible, and it will be easier for you to respond, because now you can pick information from whoever needs your support. So we've really listened to that opportunity, and I feel the other statement of authority coming closer to us also gives us a chance to break the barrier of, how do we report, who do we go to, how do we do it, and even at times to break the barrier of what is the problem. But I think that is, something from way back. It's not only even just us, because even when you look at some of the old movies or documentaries, whenever police just appears in anyone's home, the first question is, what have I done? What is the some of them just start running. Before even they say, they just, where are you running? I saw the police. What have you done? I don't know. But where are you running? So I think it is also something we I don't know whoever started it, whoever great-grandparent was, I don't know if it was Adam, but anyway, God knows. But I think that is something that is always funny to happen. But yeah, you're right. Authority coming to us, I think that also makes it easier for us to manage community reporting. And I think, as ASP said, they do their best to work hand in hand with the local council, and she said it herself, making it an agenda on her program to ensure that at least she can visit 5 schools. I feel that meets your statement of authority coming to us to ensure that we can close that gap. And before I get to my next questions, I would love also, the audience to try and ask you some questions, because I feel they are burning. I've been seeing most of them noting down questions, looking at you and having that face of, really? And I think I should give them an opportunity, to really ask and try and find out what you have to say to some of their queries. And I think we shall do it in a very good way. I think we shall have a male, female that side, male, female this side. Okay? But before we start, can we smile? Yeah. Good. We on point. We would love, I think, a microphone. Okay. That to this side. We'll get one from. So, who has a question? Yes, that's 1, 2, 3. Ladies are fearing. Ladies, we say this is a safe space. Don't fear. Okay? I'm a good listener. Me, I'm available. I'm positioning myself. If you can't ask, you call me. I can come, you tell me. I will protect you as a whistleblower. So, we're starting with the gentleman over here, and then I will first do the neighbor behind the lady, then we go to you, then I will cross over to this side at once. The microphone is there. As you ask, you can tell us your name, your role, and then you can ask the question.
Thank you.
Technologia, you know what they say? Perfect.
Thank you very much, our facilitators. I'm Joseph. I'm a teacher from Oxford, Nawero site. Allow me, for a point of clarification and emphasis, give a scenario to back up my point. In my village, there was sensitization empowering the community to report people who damage environment. One man had a jackfruit tree in his compound. The same applied to the neighbor. One of them cut down the tree for charcoal burning. After cutting down the tree, then the kids of this gentleman started depending for fruits on the neighbor's plant. With the time, the neighbor also wanted to cut his tree down. This gentleman called the police, the section concerned with the environment, that this one is disturbing the environment. So, this one asked, why do you report me that? Don't you know that our kids depend on fruits, they need that tree? So let me come back to the point. When we talk about community reporting, we have the intention of safeguarding against gender-based violence, not so? Now, I have around 3 people. 1, I have the coach. 2, I have the police personnel. 3, I have the teacher. I will stand for the teacher vis-a-vis the first 2. When we talk about the coach, they get reports from their prayers. And when they get the reports from the prayers, they act. 1, if it is a foul of handball, handling the ball, either it is a free kick, red, yellow card, or any other penalty is given to the offender. When it comes to police, I've been seeing them carrying batons, tear gas here and there, even taking people for court hearing for being sentenced. All these ones are done to curb down gender-based violence. Now it comes to the teacher down there in the field. When he gets such reporting, the hands of the teacher are restricted. You have heard you are not supposed to blame. Don't use abusive language. Now, sincerely speaking, could you please empower us to people who are down there on the ground doing this kind of hectic work, because I don't want our presence here to be ceremonial. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll take all questions and we'll respond at once. I think it will be easier that way, so we are noting them down. Yes.
Thank you so much, dear facilitators. Josephine, I'm a Christian and I love the Lord. That's 1. 2, I'm an accountant by profession. 3, I'm a teacher by default. And my question is not really one, but I wanted clarity because I've been hearing gravity of issues. So at this point, I want to ask, how do you weigh the gravity of the matter? Because in my understanding, GBV comes in different forms. So when you tell me you weigh gravity, what kind of measure are you using? Because for me, it can be emotional and it might take me to taking away my life. For some other people, it might be physical. So at what point as leaders, especially leaders where we are all running to, we are all coming to you, and I'm telling you, look here, my neighbor is being abusive and it's getting to me. And where you're sitting, you're saying, maybe this is not big enough, you know, for you to get the probation officer or to get the police. At what point do I know that this thing is big enough for me to come running for my life? Case in scenario, I have a neighbor of mine who was beaten badly. And when she went to police, they asked for money. That's why when he said money, I said yes. And trust me, that was last year. Up to now, it has never been resolved. And you ask, are these people helping us? How do we maneuver into the system to ensure that the police who are supposed to be our friends, we feel confident that I can wake up at any point in my life and walk to you and come to you and say, look here, Madam Edith, you know, I'm not going to leave this community, but how do we handle this thing without me having the fear of, oh, I need to have some money, I need a wallet, because I feel like that is where most of us are coming from. Like for me to go to a person in charge, a leader, I need to be having something. And how do I know that my issue is going to be handled with so much urgency because it's actually concerning me and it's affecting me? Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think the neighbor.
Thank you, our panelists. My name is Yampa Abraham. I'm a parent, I'm a tourist guide trainer, and I'm putting this question to all the panelists who are there. All of you have presented, have talked to us, and you have just submitted challenges. There was a police station, it was removed, that was from the LOC. The police gave the challenges, and the probation officer gave challenges. For us to be able to act, to mitigate the vice of GBV, do you people who are seated there have suggestions of how we can end the challenges? Because if all of us stood around here to talk about the challenge, we have billions of them. And I thought this gathering should be one that should be able or craft some ways of see how we can mitigate those challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukul Abraham. I think you're stealing my notes. That was going to be our closing question, but anyway, since you've mentioned it, it will be nice. I think it will be answered as our last part, but thank you for that. Yes.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm called Apio Betty. It's afternoon now, eh? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm called Apio Betty, and I'm a badminton coach. This question goes directly to the director. I was so happy when he said that he stoops so low, as in his office is very easily accessible. So I just want you to ask you, from experience and also from the stories that I've been hearing from different schools, not maybe from your school, but I just want you to guide us and also the head teachers around here, in case you have like a particular teacher in your school who is so hardworking. For example, that particular teacher is maybe like a deputy teacher or maybe a DOS and is very, very influential. But at the same time, behind back doors, the same teacher practices gender-based violence. For example, all the sexual harassments and all those things. And then maybe a particular student, or many students, about 4 or 5 come and tell you, and they're like, maybe this particular teacher does this, this, and this, and this. How do you go about it? Have you faced such challenges? And then how do you go about it? Because at the same time, you need the teacher, and the teacher has a very good report when it comes to parents and then maybe performance. And at the same time, you still need the students, because this happens in schools. So how do you go about it?
Thank you so much. I think we now cross over to that side.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Members, you're welcome, and we are representing a bigger family. In Entebbe, we are proposing a city. However, the way we are, actually it may not be a city compared to national standards. In Busoga region, there are vulnerable girls, and NGOs always go there to help their vulnerable children compared to entire municipality. I personally, there is a scenario I had in St. Teresa Primary School. We got a child after COVID who had no home, but he had got lost from his home at 6 years. He's now in Senior 2 Air Force SS. And that particular child will got a letter from Division A, from the probation officer, to keep him. But he has no what? Home. What am I saying? Whenever we come to you as officers, we need the actions, the act, and the follow-up. We have so many street children. When they tell you their stories, the way they have lived on our streets, they grow up and become adults, but there is no proper what? Follow-up to some children. Then, what I'm suggesting, let us have NGOs, let us have homes, like how we have camp links. Let us have a particular home in entire municipality in Wakiso, where such children can be taken. For example, we have many children who carry out child labor on the streets of Entebbe, and there is no proper follow-up. We have children in our schools who are orphans. Last year I had a scenario in Bugonga that died, but the children were left in Bugonga. So such scenarios, we should create hope for those particular vulnerable children so that they are away from the streets. And finally, as I said yesterday, we are a bigger community. We should help the officer because she has also a home to care for. How are we going to help? By forming committees, safeguarding committees, councils at all levels, under the education sector, under police, under religion, under culture, so that we help one another. Because we can get individuals who are well-wishers to help out on some issues, and to curb the overwhelming challenges, for example, drug attack in the community. Those are vulnerable youth who don't have what to do in the community, and they lose out on their way. To the university head, the director, my request would be at least to offer some bursaries to such vulnerable children who have come out in order to reduce crime in our community. Thank you so much. May the good Lord bless you.
Thank you, my dear. We missed your introduction.
I'm by the names Namtiaba Elizabeth, Deputy Teacher Secretary to Bugonga, and a lead teacher in the entire municipality. On the other hand, I'm a cultural leader, Buganda Kingdom, Division B, Mutuvetana.
Tusanyusa okulaba nnyabo. Basebo kati sawa wenu, tusanyusa okulaba ssebo.
Thank you very much. My name is Bukenya Sulai.
Yes.
A teacher and a coach. I would like to make the probation officer aware that at least I, as Bukenya, I know that in every district, every municipality, they have. But the community is not aware of the roles of the probation officer for districts. Now, the current speaker talked of making committees down here. What if we make committees and the probation officer is invisible? Shall those committees work? My request is, if the probation officers stop being probation officers and come to the ground, then we shall have the best of our best. 2, we have the child response and rights policy, Madam ESP. But when you look at it, in most cases, it favors the female part of it. When you report a case pertaining a female, they react quickly. But when you report a case about a male, the reaction is low. Thank you very much. Sorry, the lawyer. You talked of positioning ourselves. I would like to be educated. What exactly thing can one do to position oneself? Thank you very much. I remain in Kenya. Sorry.
Thank you so much. And I see some of the questions actually driving into our last bit of the session, which was more to do with solutions. But as I said, I know we in Uganda, we like last minute things. Now I'm seeing there are some people also putting up their hand. Okay, you give them a chance to ask. Before I close, there's also a gentleman after. There's a gentleman there. Yes.
Thank you so much, MC. I'm glad to be here this morning or afternoon. My name is Henry Serada.
Henry.
I'm a teacher by profession. I serve at Entebbe Christian School as a senior man teacher and as well as an apostle by calling, so I'm born again. Maybe my inquiry, number one, is what has the police put in place to avoid the fear, because I heard about the fear among the population to raise such catastrophes and other issues in the community, to give them courage to the informers and whistleblowers and also. Then another inquiry, what has our community liaison officer heard about in the way of eliminating the image of money from police? People, that concept that people have gotten about police, what could she have heard about as a strategy to eliminate the worries of money in the community? Then another one, to the probation office. What exactly is her role? Somebody mentioned in cases of children's matters, we know they are there, as he said, but really the touch, the feel in the community or in the schools is probably not there or minimal. Then lastly, as a teacher, and in most schools, we've signed the children's protection, measures. But to our concerns as the player, the field, we've gotten always perturbed that we sign those roles against, losing our jobs, or the worries. But we are supposed to act. But basing on the culture and the how we grew up, the African setting, we all know how we've been trying to punish or to train our children here and there. But they don't give us alternatives. They just make you sign, but what to do, because probably we are used to what would be called the bad ways. But the alternatives, even when we go to trainings, they don't give you the alternative. They only insist on the what? On the don't do this, don't do this. Children.com is no longer the other one the way it used to be, But what is the way forward? What can I do? What next? So you are there haunted, you are there, you must be in class, you to train a child. And when you observe, these children who grew up with such tender touches, today they are the problems in society. They are the Rastafarians, useless ones, but not the useful ones. They are the prostitutes. They grew up without working because they are untouchable, not punishable. And so are we going to leave the generation like that, much as the teacher may be arrested for maybe punishing? Now they call it physical violence. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. One more person, then we can have the responses.
Thank you so much, the moderator.
Yes.
MC for the opportunity. I'm a Kankwasa Gilbert, Nachogo Primary School, a teacher. My first question goes to the liaison officer, Afande. We have seen the issue of confidentiality, where most people fear to report simply because they don't want to be taken off guard. Somebody might be down there suffering, most especially our mothers who are being tortured badly, but this is a neighbor who may wish to report the case, but want the confidentiality to be out. Now, in so doing, finds out that the one who is torturing, sometimes because of having some money, is a friend to the chairperson LOC1, is a friend to the chairperson LOC2, even could be a friend to the OC.
You mean the Gambanoku?
Yes. Okay. Meaning that this person will have nowhere to run to. Now, the question to the officer is there another safe place where even the police could be reported for not doing the good work in case this person reaches the police and finds out that the OC is a friend of the one who is being reported? Where do we report the police? That is one. Two, as I'm shooting this one again to our friend lawyer. As a lawyer, in case I come to you, and now I'm not coming as a client because I don't want to own this case, and I inform you, my friend, I've gone to the police, my neighbor is being tortured, but I have nowhere to run to because the police is also friendly to the torturer, if I'm using the correct word. You as a lawyer, is there any other pipeline you can use also to reach out to that person who is, how are you going to make this victim win the case when the victim has not reported the case? because the victim is fearing to report. I've just come as a friend, a helper. Now, this one, the last one, goes to the probation officer. We have heard that most of us don't know probation officers and we don't know the roles. In most cases, most people have never heard of that. When does someone report to the probation officer? And again, is it also done through police or someone comes to you? Because we've seen that you have the structures, but we don't know whether there could be any other channel someone goes before reaching you, the probation officer. Because I myself in Entebbe, I don't know where the office of the probation officer is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Questions are now closed from the panel. Even if now you smile, this is the moment I won't take the smile because you'll be bribing me. So no more questions. Let us give time to the panelists to answer. They will try to be brief because I know most of you might still have a moment of, they haven't responded well. So don't worry. We will help them respond. I know they will be brief and straight to the point. And I know most of them have written down the questions that are directly to them. So we will start from the probation officer. Coming this end, the mic. I hope that is fine. Okay. Yes, we'll start.
Thank you.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm the probation officer of Entebbe. One of my offices are supposed to be the main offices of Entebbe Municipal Council, but I use the Division A because it's near the police and the court, and I connect with the two offices all the time. My town clerk knows about that. Then the role of the probation officer, one major role is the children's welfare in families, in schools, and wherever they are. So I'm the bridge, the link between the justice and the society. Those children that conflict with the law, I'm there for them. That's why I say Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I go to police and to identify them, make their reports, and we appear in court before the Chief Justice. Then to Teacher Elizabeth, thank you for being an alternative mother, because you said that boy doesn't have a family, and you said we should put up more homes, but the government doesn't want homes. They are advising us to face the 4 homes away and get the alternative mothers who are not also not seen, because it's very difficult to get a mother who can take on a child of, especially from 5, 7, 9 years. But if you're there, I appreciate your effort. I appreciate whatever you do, because I think I know that boy. And for your information, that boy has a relative, an uncle who works with a Narrow. Then for Kenya, still I think I've answered your question, because you wanted to know more about what the probation officers do. Yes. And to the families, when they have conflicts, I come in when there are children in their families. To me, I'm on the side of the children. Are they being fed well? Are they going to school? That's me. And when you want to find me, you said that there are some committees where I don't appear. I don't invite myself, but your invitations are welcome, and I will be a member.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there is any other question.
And for Abraham, you said the challenges we have. Yes, we can sensitize the parents, because to me, I believe charity begins at home. To some of us look onto what how our parents behave in a family. That's how we behave. Because if I come to a home and a parent lies to me, doesn't open to me about the problem that has occurred in a family, that child will get to know mother, mommy, daddy will be happy if they get to know I didn't tell the truth. So me, I say we sensitize the families, because charity begins at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. And I think the key word there, charity begins at home. That is a topic I know every time I talk about, you start feeling like the eyes are throwing stones at you from people. Yes.
For the case of camping, sir, I've got so many parents bring their children. Now, if you fail as a parent and you come to the probation office and say, help me and take my child to camping, sir, so that he studies from there. For your information, camping, sir, we only take children with the orders from court. We don't just take them from there. And they don't have schools there. They just give them skills. So me, I would advise parents, teach your children. Because you bring a 13-year-old boy, when they're taken to camping, sir, they even get bad behaviors from those we've found there. Because remember, this is a place where all suspects go. We either take them to camping, sir, or Naguru. But they learn bad behaviors compared to how they went into those homes. We don't just take them there, but we get orders from court.
Thank you so much. I like that they are responding and assisting one another. You know, also rugby, there is passing the ball. And as you can see, they are passing to one another responses. But I think one of the things I've picked, I was saying charity begins at home, which is very, very important. And I think tomorrow, if I'm right, there's a question you asked about homes. And I think someone from the Ministry of Gender and Labor will be here tomorrow, and she can at least give you a response to that. In case you've forgotten, maybe someone from the audience, you remember that she will be here. So I think she can give us a clear response regarding homes, because as hearing these days, I think even they're trying to, is it to reduce or to phase them out, something like that. So if that option is no longer there, you know, what should we look at? And I think the first thing is charity beginning at home. I know we no longer want responsibility these days, but we love giving birth to the children, but we don't want to. Anyway, as we said, that topic is a little bit challenging, but we would have a response from council. Some of the questions that were directed to you. Any answers you have for us? If we don't have, we can move to ASP and then we can come back to the collective that we got.
It's fine. I think I'll begin from Gilbert.
Yes.
Gilbert, all cases, civil or criminal, can't be handled in court if they haven't gone through police. So whichever case you may be having, before they are heard, at least there has to be a file at police that shows that this case has been reported. So that is the first step you have to take before any case is heard in court. So confidentiality and every other aspect is between me and the client most of the time. But where there is need for disclosure for the purpose of goodwill, there are cases where you definitely have to look at the general good. Not all cases, you know, are defended to the death because you want to earn out of them. One of the major reasons I don't actually practice law is basically because of that. I really look at my integrity so much to the point that I don't feel safe defending where there is no right to defend, you know? So I protect myself to the limit. I mainly do the advisory role, but then I have my limits when it comes to practicing. So it doesn't mean that you will have a back way through any case without going through police to have it heard in court. So everything must go through the court before you have any final on any case you've reported. We had, I think, could you remind me of your name? Abraham. No, this was, I think, from one gentleman who asked about positioning yourself. I'll refer to the chairman. The chairman, as he began his speech, he told us that if you're a leader, you definitely must be seen. That bit is very important. If you're a leader and you're not seen, then you're not positioning yourself. What is the purpose of being a leader and people don't know you or don't see you? So, and we have so many communities. Your community is not just the place you dwell in, by the way. This is your community for now. You know, we are your community at this point. You are in that community of these girls when you're training them. That is your community. That is your domain at that point, okay? If you're in a restaurant, the people you're having this meal with at that point are your community at that point. So your engagement doesn't only happen where you live. Your responsibility as a responsible citizen doesn't only happen where you live. So it cuts across every other position you're in at a particular time. So reporting doesn't only stop where you stay. You know, it cuts across all those other areas you connected with. I think most of us have WhatsApp groups. Do we? Any of us in a WhatsApp group?
I do.
I think almost all of us. And those are the closest communities we have now.
For sure.
You know, these things are changing so fast. So you're in a community with somebody that is almost miles and miles away from us. So positioning yourself is about you understanding that you're a leader at some point and you can't be reached by everybody, to make sure that whatever they have that is, pressing them can be heard by you. And that hearing bit, or that being there as well, matters a lot, that you only not positioning yourself, but you also there to listen and act at the same time. So I hope I've answered you very clearly. We have a lady that asked about if I had a teacher or member of staff that has not been clear in what their responsibilities as teachers or as a teacher is. We have a lot of cases with schools. I'm not going to say that my school is an exception. The problems we go through with these children are at times unbearable. Some of this violence actually starts from home. And when it starts from home, this kid comes to school seeking solace from you as a teacher. For us as secondary school teachers, we faced with a bigger challenge that most of the children we deal with are almost young adults. So meaning to a greater extent, some of them know what they are doing. They know what is wrong and what is right. Most of the time, teachers take advantage of that and have even the audacity to tell these children, come on, I think you're old enough. You understand what is happening. Now, because this child is in this position where they need these few things that make them run and everything else, you're promising her a phone, you're promising her 50K. She has even never had, a 1,000 in her pocket, and she's hearing somebody is going to be giving her a 50,000 shillings note. That is where all this begins from. I am a very strict discipline, I'm very strict on discipline. Very, very strict on discipline. And for the few teachers like Andrew that have been to my school, know that very well. As I employ you, those are some of the things we put down first. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I've had a number of my staff laid off for that very reason. The moment I suspect, and that is why I told you that it is very important for me to be very close to these children. The moment I suspect, and for me, I don't believe anybody apart from the child. I never give anybody room to explain to me, that they have a defense against a child. That one I look at later, but after you've left your desk as a teacher. So when it comes to children, especially girls, I think Regina knows that very well. Our area is a no-go zone for that. So it is something we condone 100%. We've gone to the extreme of inserting cameras every single point of the school, including the staff room, because a lot of things happen in the staff room that most schools don't know. and you think you're giving, I know at some point you're encroaching on people's privacy, but that is the best way. You have to make sure that things run under that, that supervision that you wish to have. So there are things you can't compromise on. Those vices are there, not in 1 or 2 schools, but it's about the administration and management of the school to know how best they can curb them. So for me personally, that is, even if you've given me A's and distinctions year in, year out, it is not one thing I compromise when it comes to violence towards these children in whichever form it may really be. I think those are the questions I was directed to answer. Thank you so much. And thank you for your questions, please.
Thank you, Council, for your response. And you hit the nail hard and clear when you stated that you don't compromise, and you've also taken the action to install cameras. There are certain things they seem a bit casual, easy to do, but then at times they provide confidence to these children when they know that at least there is a camera and I'm going to be safe. Nothing wrong would happen. I hope they work. We've had incidences where people have cameras, and then when issues happen, we see, can we see? They're like, now you see, the IT guy didn't come. When you eat this, you put the electricity off the camera.
Just for a second, they work, and these kids are very inquisitive, Yes. So they also, just like you said, most of them think, they actually thought in the beginning that they don't work. So they kept snooping to see if we are watching them, and they even come and ask you, but do you hear what we say? Do you hear what we say? So you have to play that audio for them to feel like, come on, I hear you in every bit, and it brings some sanity around for the teachers and for the students as well. Yeah.
That is glad to note, and I hope fellow directors are picking a leaf. Yes, ASP, I see the diary has many pages. I hope people are listening and not just hearing when some of the panelists are responding to the queries that we raised. So, yes, SP, what do you have for us?
Thank you. I think the one with very many questions, but I also want to start by asking you a simple and a hard question. What is corruption?
Side A, yes. The mic is. I love this.
Thank you, ASP, for that good question. Corruption is an act or a vice where a person compromises their ability to serve and apply favoritism to the service they have, regardless of whether there is money, whether there is gender, whether there is relationships. For example, I might bring a case to you where your sister has assaulted me, gender-based violence. But because she's your sister, you look for a way of making sure that my case never gets a file. That is number one. Number two, you might wake up in the morning, you're supposed to go to somebody's office to follow up a case, but you feel it is not important and you just sit and forget about it. I'm not going to talk about exchanging money where a rich person comes and gives you money. And I will not talk about when Gambanog calls and says, hey, close that file, that thing is not there. But I talk about the basic ones that can touch an individual when they are serving society. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, there was another.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I understand corruption as an abuse of entrusted power for private gains.
Thank you. Final one from a lady here at the front.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Namlondo Damali. Yeah. It is a little bit more of what the gentleman has spoken about. Literally, it's the abuse of entrusted power, yeah, for personal gains. Not so much for, like, as we think personally that individually I can bribe with money, but it may be abuse. I can come and insult you for my personal gains. I'm corrupt.
Thank you. Yes, SP.
Thank you so much. Brought in that because most of my questions are on money, corruption. Police officers are corrupt. That's why I brought that. And to me, I know the suspects. Me and you are the suspects.
Very true.
You who give, receives. We are all what?
Suspects.
Suspects.
We
If
shouldn't
you
put
don't
double
give,
standard.
I will not touch your pocket, remove the money. And I will not be tempted, but you have given, I've received. And me and you, the law will take us. Council is here to guide us. Thank you so much. Question. Thing I want to know, Teacher Gilbert Nakyogo, people fail to report because of fear, and the problem is money. Yes, we are seeing people fail to report because of fear, and the problem is money. It's a disease that Ugandans have impacted ourselves, that without money, I cannot go and report a case at police. And once you leave your home with that mindset, without money, I will not go there and they will not help me. Indeed, you will not come and they will not be helped. At police, I will say all services are free. Light from the gate up to inside. Behind you, you know it is not free because you have come with a mind.
Have started. You wait for opportunity. You keep your Let ASP first explain.
You know they are not free because you have come with a formed mind that you have to give in money before they serve you. But we have people who oversee the movement. Only that our community, like we said, they may not be aware. But you who is here today with me, it's a chance and opportunity to get to know and take it to those people outside there and inform them. For example, we have got what we call PSU, that's Professional Standard Unit at police. You will enter there at your own time. A police officer will not be there. You will take your own report. And like we said, they also say, you will also go on saying, please don't mention my name, and they will never mention your name. So they will send a team to investigate whatever has been happening. And if Iradukunda is found, the only option, PSC does not even take in disciplinary, but takes you direct to court. Then we have also got human rights. Human rights. You may think they act on the other side, but even on police, in Entebbe, I think we are unlucky because I know they sit in Wakiso. And it may be hard for you to move from Entebbe to Wakiso to go and report a police officer who has asked 5,000 from you. Some of us say, Kastanku Mitan, now I can't put in transport to go to Wakiso to report her. Let me give her to eat. But I'm telling you, the more you continue giving Iradukunda to eat, the more you're spoiling others and even killing people's chances. Use that chance you will know. Go and report so that tomorrow they can know, oh, report is already there. Then I've got organizations like Women Pro Bono, Redeem, the investigators, though they are non-government organizations, and we work closely with them, more so on cases of GBV. Chairman Lunyo, is he around? My chairman has gone, he can bear me a witness. To the extent that they report you to chairman. It is a surprise that a police officer being reported to chairman LC1, yes. Because like we said, you may be fearing to be seen reporting a police officer. But LC1 chairman will stand bold on his two legs and say, yes, this happened. We have witnessed it with Mr. Kai's. Unfortunately, he has moved out. We have seen it. And you put in the shoes and be the witness and say, yes, I was there. And the case will move on and the officer will be punished. Then the other question was about, from Teacher Henry, what has police put in place to avoid that fear? Yes, we have specialized units formed within the police. For example, Child and Family Department. We have got gender desks specifically to handle those cases of gender. Because usually if I am a victim and I come to police, and you know, like Madam was teaching us in the morning and was brought in something of TikTok and what, I remember tapping my officer there. You reach at the counter, you're a victim, the other one's on WhatsApp, doing other things, you feel you're not helped. That's why these desks are created. And they are there at the beginning. The moment you come and they say, oh, this may be a victim, you're taken in their office for secrecy. Then we have also a committee. It is called Check-up Committee, and it is headed by the RDC, where a probation is a member, local councils are members, councillors are members, police is there, army is there, prison is there. So that is there to check. If corruption is only with police, you were given money and you didn't do work. You asked for money and services were free. All these people are there to point at you. But the challenge we have, we don't know where to report to. You go there, ask for money, you keep quiet. Sir, that is the end. You don't even think of the councillor you elected. You voted the other day, you don't even think that the councillor can help you. But councillors are members of that committee. You don't even think of the RDC who is there. RDC is the member. So we need to empower our community members that, yes, if you go to police and you're not served well, come to me. Put on the shoes, please, because they don't know. And they will just go and keep quiet and cases will die from there. Then other places where you can report such, at counter always there are phone contacts. Those are not flowers. Starting from the divisional police commander, the DPC, because when such cases happen, at least you can report to 5 people there. It will not happen to Iladukunda again, you can report to Iladukunda, no. We have a head who is the DPC. And it is all over the station, starting from outside. From the DPC, OC station, OCCID, then CI, then the CLO. Because most of the cases are with me, direct to me. I am the one who is with the community, and I'm the one to bridge the gap between you and the police.
So ASP, go a ground.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, and tell people you've had, she's on ground.
Then, if you see, for example, it has happened to Entebbe, you may think Entebbe, being a division, it is the last. No. We are also being supervised by Natete as a region. That's Kempi South, where the RPC receives any complaint and any call, and he acts. So we should not sit down and keep quiet because our people don't know, but we need to tell them and direct them where to report from. Another thing was about a closed police post at Katabi raised by chairman. Yeah, it was closed. I remember those days we had very many police posts and booths. Very many, actually could move from each village had a police post. But you know, we always say we don't have manpower, and people say, but you recruit every day. Yes, we recruit every day, but police officers also die. For example, if I may say, others retire. If I may say, this week we have lost more than, the ones I've known, there are more than 10 police officers, and are not repressed. There are more than 10, my station here, the example of my station. I have more than 5 who have retired this week, and are not repressed. But you still say, even if a police post is closed, Katabi, which takes us, the Gombolola, and the main station that takes Katabi, the whole Katabi, is empowered by the manpower that can at least patrol the whole area. That's why when you go to the Gombolola, we said that at least, if they are few, they should be 15 and above. And we say at least, if there is no means of transport, a motorcycle should be there for quick response. So, Chairman, it was closed, but we hope it will be open soon when we get the manpower. I think my questions are almost.
Yes.
Then I will tackle one about the children's home. We work hand in hand with Madam, probation officer. But the children's home we have also, they are just helping, which us as readers we have forgotten that it's not their mandate to be there and do that work. And there is a specific group of children they take. You will not pick a street child from the streets of Entebbe and take, for example, to Asfiwe Children's Home. You will not, and they will not allow. You will not pick any child, because we know most of them, I interact with them almost on a daily basis. This one is moving with Kasoli, with what sailing around. Some of them have not escaped from home. They have come to see what happens in town. And it is a challenge because we try with her to reunite them with their families. And she tells me, I'm not going back. And there's the one who told me recently, I'm not going back home. I'd rather go to, there is a press in Rugonjo. Those of Nachigo go Rugonjo, there's a press in, I'd rather go to Rugonjo. I said, why do you go to Rugonjo? Yes, Rugonjo, you can earn the money the way you want. Yes. So, when we look at them at the streets and we think people are not doing the work, that's a lie. What you do, you only add yours also. You add your voice. Let it be a collective effort, not for CLO alone, for probation alone. And we should put it in mind that the homes we have in Entebbe, madam, are they two? They are only two. And these two, the government, and we learn today that the government is me and you. We don't want them to be there. So we can create our own home. Me and you can create our own home to make sure we help these children because they are the future leaders. I think I've answered all the questions. So next time, if there is a victim or any other person and goes to police and money is asked, I know money is asked. That is the truth. Because I've moved in the community and I've lived with the police. But now, should we continue leaving them to ask for the money? Because to me as a reader, it hurts me. Whoever puts on this uniform is a police officer. And whether you do bad or good, you will carry it.
Yep.
Iradukunda who didn't do it will do what? Will carry it. Because she's putting on what?
The uniform.
So that's why I say, let's work together. Have our numbers. They are there. They're not there for decoration. Give a call. Madam, I'm here. There is this and this. But remember, our victims don't know. Sometimes they even come with no airtime. So if he has come to you, spare 1 minute, come to us and say, Madam, this is not going on well. So that we sort the mess. That is how we shall end this vice of money, money, money. That's how it will end. It is me and you to fight it. Don't leave it for me alone. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Madam ASP. You've only clapped for the ASP. The others you didn't clap. Okay, we can smile. Anyway, I like the words she has said, and there was something that she talked about regarding a new home. And I've had discussions before with colleagues regarding the word home. And I've seen that it is a very big word. I like even now you also first told us to define corruption. And that was very wonderful. Then later on you told us, when you come to this committee, the things you mentioned, I saw people's faces, they got more scared. That the committee has police, army, prison. Aye. Guys were now saying, hi, yombavayo. Army, prison. But like she has said, all those people have different roles. It's just a uniform, but they are human and they will understand. But something to do with the home, and I think it is a word I think most of us should also think about. Maybe even towards the end, if we have time, as the day ends, we could talk about it. But I feel most of us, even starting from whether you are an adult, these days we are all over the place because we are looking for a home. A home. What is a home? Many of us, our homes have become guest houses. We just go there to sleep. Not only us, the adults, but even the kids. Like they said, the kids said, I don't want to go I would rather go and, so meaning the real home has become just a guest house, or even maybe a town center. They just go through the home, change clothes, shower, go to the home. So is our home a home, or it is a guest house, a hangout, a joint? We need to check ourselves, because even as the adults these days, we are looking for homes, and when you find a home in someone's home, that's where your new home becomes. Anyway, so Chair, as I leave the home discussion, we had some questions also sent directly to you, and I saw you made some notes. Could you give us some of your responses?
Thank you, moderator. Not so many were directed to me, but one thing I noted when I was taking notes, somebody talked about cutting down of a tree, but he did not conclude on what happened. But I don't know whether he's around. But I think one thing, if I may throw light on this, the gentleman who went and reported had read something about destruction of the environment.
Yes.
But because of our I don't care attitude, whatever happens in our community, they say, after all. These days, there's this issue of the high
fences.
The high fences. You don't know what is happening in the home, but in some countries, by the way, such is prohibited. Because the security of a person is not only it is actually the concern of the state.
True.
People must know what is happening inside there. So when you are putting up a fence, be careful. As far as cutting down the tree, the story was not concluded, but the truth is we must be all mindful about protecting the environment. If your neighbor cuts down a tree, I know there are laws that has he sought permission from the relevant authorities to have that tree cut down? That is a question to you now.
True.
Then another thing, out of this discussion, I've come out with one thing to conclude. I think all that we do in community is a shared responsibility. We should not act as if we are. There are certain things we tend to copy. When we look at the African of those days, the Africans were living as a community. But today, a number of us, apart from the Muslims, I admire the Muslims. When a Muslim meets a Muslim, there are two identities they have: a sigda or a cap, or the way the ladies dress. One cannot bypass the other without saying, Assalamu alaikum. But me as a Catholic, come across a fellow Catholic putting on a rosary, you bypass each other. Katonda yamanyi. Whereas in the past, I remember when I was growing up, you would not meet an old man pushing a bicycle on a hill without helping him. And after helping him, he says, thank you. He leaves you without taking you. Then he would go. He would go. And that is how we were brought up. And the cases of what is happening were limited. But now, there is a way we have a tendency of thinking that government is another institution there. For us, we are here, we are not part of government. We are government ourselves, and therefore we need cooperation, we need to work together. Collaboration, actually. We need to collaborate in all ways. And then, after that, there is something that was brought by a question that was raised. People, fear. To me, fear simply means false expectations appearing real. Why should we have fear first? Try. Go there and find out. She has told you this. Many of us. Mr. Moderator, I want to tell you one thing. I happen to be on a number of WhatsApp groups. But there is a group which almost after every quarter, Somebody posts the phone numbers of all police commanders in the country at different levels. Let me tell you the truth, I also don't mind to, the moment I look at one of Entebbe, Katabi, others, for example, where my retirement home is, I don't bother. Yet that is very, very important. Some of the most important information, we don't take it. We just, and those of us on WhatsApp groups, we are only interested in the funny things. Those are the ones that we do what? Promote. We happen to have a WhatsApp group in Katabi LOC. But let me tell you, most of the information that is posted, sometimes I don't want to open because I always think that I'm going to expect nonsense. We don't post things that are of importance to our community. Yet we claim to be living in the digital world. Unlike us, who are BBC, that is born before computer. But one thing I'm calling upon colleagues, the participants here, as one of the organizers mentioned yesterday, we are here to learn, to relearn, and unlearn. And on top of that, knowledge has never made any person drunk. Whenever you get knowledge, you become more empowered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we wind up this session, I would love our panelists all to give us just 2 solutions and actionable ones. I think that will also make Abraham very happy to smile as we have lunch.
So there's something that was brought by
Abraham
about that we all presented challenges.
And that's where I'm going to. So the solutions I would give each panelist. Yes. I think it was him. Yes. The gravity. Yep.
Yeah.
So those 2. So one, who do you want to answer the first one of the gravity? I think it is ASP. Yes. And then ASP will give us her 2 solutions, and then the rest will also give us their 2 solutions, and then we can wrap up, because I'm seeing most of you are starting to give me the well, we need to eat kind of speech. People are starting to give it to me, and I don't want to be a suspect of violence, making people hungry. So please, ASP.
Thank you. The gravity of the offense depends on the evidence. It depends on the evidence. For example, I cannot come and say, I've been beaten. And I expect much if I stop from there. If I've come, I've said, Officer Chairman, I've been beaten by so and so. Yes, there is a procedure which on that evidence. 1, you must be examined. And the examination is done by the medical officer, the qualified medical officer.
Not you.
Not me.
Ah, okay.
Well, at police we have police surgeons also, they are the ones recommended to do that. But you will find, for example, in Entebbe division, we don't have any. And that's why in Entebbe we use Dr. Kalyesubula. He's the one we use in Entebbe. So whether it is assault, in form of the other assault, or in form of domestic or what, and you go and get any other report from any other hospital, even if it is Entebbe grade B and you bring a report that is not signed by a qualified doctor, there now the case is not, it's there.
It loses priority.
And now you say, oh, my case was heavy, it has gravity, but the police officers, you will forget that you did not attach the medical report signed by a doctor. Then again, also there is a tendency of reporting and you stop from there. When officers tell you, we need at least 2-3 witnesses. Because even at court, my friend said all cases start from police. Yes? At court, the file will reach there and it will bounce back. And when it bounces back and you're called and you said, Edith, do you know what? Your file is back to police. Then you say, they sent. They have given them money. They have eaten money and now my file cannot move. But those are the small things. The ones we call small, they are the ones that are going to make your case lose meaning. Then we also have scenes of crime. For example, I've been beaten from my own house. And some of us, we don't want to bring officers there. What will the children say if they say police officer in my house? And some of us, the women and the men, we are beaten in the bedroom. And we say, keep quiet, you should not go in the sitting room. But to me, I've seen the blackboard and I've attended very many workshops. I know I have a right to go and report. But remember, I've reported, and one of the conditions is to take an officer to the scene of crime, which is inside the bedroom. And I have children there, senior 1, senior 2, they say, hey, mommy, now we bring police officers here. And you never know that small thing may make your case be dropped. And in most cases you say, I presented everything, but the file was closed and put away. It seems even the Balamuzi ate. No, you have to follow the procedure and finish all the inquiries to make sure your case is direct. I myself, there is one I was happy with. A woman was beaten, and at first she came saying it was an accident. But when she reached at police, she demanded to talk to a senior woman. I presented myself, she looked at me and said, you are again very young. I said, Mama, I was not in uniform that day. I said, let me talk to you. She said, no, I want a senior woman. I got an old woman there, I was about to retire. I brought her. But you know, also counseling, guidance and counseling depends on the experience you have. So this one I brought did not do the work like I wanted it. She didn't know anyway what to do. Said, again the victim looked for me, said, Madam, go you come. Actually, I remember we sat under the mango tree. I am very far from others. She talked and we worked on the file. Until she reached, imagine, you come saying it is an accident, they are taking you to traffic, but when you reach traffic, you say, Then after talking to her, she revealed, I am beaten every day. This was a woman. And also there is a man. So that day I had 2 victims, a man and a woman. I said, okay. I was happy that when we worked on the files, I actually built confidence in her. And I assured her, whatever we do, you'll never hear it anywhere. Because her was my job. She was a nurse. People are going to hear a Musao being beaten and at police. Will I go back to work? I said, no, trust me. Even when we are going to court, they will not know. And we concluded her case very well. And the man came, I was actually disappointed because I never wanted a reconciliation at the end. But of course, you know marriage, you know family issues. So the reconciliation was done in court. And since then, it is now a year. They only invite me to their home to take a cup of tea. So it was success on my side.
Thank you.
So this is what I'm saying. We should remove that fear from us that if officer comes home, yes, you may not want this uniform there. I can put on even a Gomez. I can camouflage and put on a chariot and come home as a visitor. But so long as my aim is to achieve and you're also safe. Then I want to conclude by saying police is a primary entry point to justice. And we must mark that. Police is a primary entry point to justice. So once you feel you need justice and you dodge police, you may not get it. My conclusion is we need to work together and work together in protecting the victims, evidence correction, and be able to give accountability. Accountability is very important. Even when we are here after here, we must stand and give accountability for the 2 days workshop or 3 days workshop, not just sitting on whatever we have learned from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, C, and I'm pretty sure the audience got that loud and clear. Yes, Council. your closing remarks with the two actionable solutions you feel.
Thank you so much.
Look at. Yes.
But first, allow me just 1 minute to clarify on what Madam has said. Usually, the gravity of the case as well in law will mainly depend on the sequence of the events in creating the case. Okay, as either the crime is being made or when there's been an act of a crime. Now, if we had domestic violence where somebody slapped, a man slapped a lady, but even after slapping, this gentleman, holds a knife, something like that, either to her neck or, gets any other bit of item alongside the slap. If you only slapped, of course, that is basic violence, okay? But if you really had an additional act on top of that, then that is aggravated at the same time. So you've not just, violated somebody. You have added something alongside it. So you may even end up having a line of over 5 cases in that case, okay? You were violent, yes. You could even be, victimized of, trying to, assault. You could be, tried on, attempted murder, or, anything could come up depending on how your lawyer has presented that. You've had cases of drink and driving, If you drank, if you knocked somebody and you sober, it's a different case, okay? But if you knocked somebody down and they realize you are drunk, that is another case as well. So the gravity of the case depends mainly on the sequence of the actions that are within that case as well. So that one also matters a lot when police is gathering their evidence and how far they would really go with your case. But the primary bit is you giving all the details that are needed to make your case count. If there is evidence you're considering your child was involved in an offense, and you're deciding not to have them involved, okay, he hit his dad or he hit his mom and something like that, and you're leaving out this because you don't want your child to be a victim into this, that still doesn't work in your favor. We get that clear, yeah? So that is where you begin judging the gravity of the cases from. On my closing remarks, I will just give one solution that I actually observed once from police, and it actually was working out, but the only problem they had was that they employed the wrong people to do the job. And that was community policing. During the time of General Kalikaihura, we had a number of people around our communities that were doing the job, making the job for the police a lot easier, okay? They were living within us, and we actually knew them. I know some of these guys personally, And the job they did, we always had a group, a gang of boys around Manyago. I've been in Manyago. That's where I was born and grown up. I grew up from. We had a gang, I think it was called the Chifes. Somebody talked about it, I think. And these were our boys. These were children we grew up with. These were children attending our schools. I remember at one point we had one of our colleagues that was doing community policing. And I liaised with one of the teachers from Entebbe Parents because they had the same problem, some gentleman called Andrew. And through this group that was doing the community policing, together with a number of teachers from different communities, we managed to identify those kids. And they actually had them arrested, had the parents involved, and at some point we had this vice out of Entebbe completely. Some of us fell victims of this. I got hammered badly because I was trying to follow up on that cases, and I almost lost my life. I think I was in coma for almost a month, I have a very big operation on my head and my eye. But because we were trying to do what we thought was right to follow up on these children. But at some point, we managed, because the group we set up that did the policing was a non-uniform group. So somehow it was very easy for us to actually identify these children and know where the problem is, and it really got solved. So if we can only go back into that, employ the right people to actually do the community policing and have them within our communities, it will give us a better solution. We have also one person, I think he's called Ashraf. Somebody could remind me. We have somebody on the forum, mainly on Facebook. What is this? Mr. Amal, I think you know him. When we always have people lost within Entebbe, who's that gentleman? Yeah? The councillor is Arafat. Arafat empowered himself. He empowered himself, by himself. So every time you see a pop-up from him, you know something is happening around Entebbe. So at times, you're not supposed to be told by police that you can have this position in society where, in the community where you can be of help, okay? Or where somebody else can take on something else, reporting the crimes that, okay, I observed something around here. I think, people be aware, don't go into that place. We've seen those pop-ups on WhatsApp a bit. There's an accident on Entebbe Road, and somebody always reports about accidents. So you can as well empower yourself. And no, for me, I can do the movement. I can be in Chigungu, I can be everywhere, so let me monitor this, So policing is not just about the uniform guys. The policing bit is about every one of us and knowing where our strong point is to be a better police person in the communities that we live in. So that is my submission, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Council. Before we go to Madam, you mentioned something that I had actually noted, because you say the right time it was happening. It was with, I think, General Kaihura, community policing. And actually, I remember from the Olympic Committee, we did an activity where we used sport as a tool with police to reach out to community. And I think the key message, if I remember that time, was, I think, don't fear police. Come, we are like you. Because even we played, I remember, football games, versing them, and people were saying, police in the abazanyo mupira. Nabo bakaba, bamukubye nga twakaba. And I was like, really? Because they're in the uniform, they are immune to certain things. So it had actually done a good job in trying to take that fear away from the community regarding the police, and even to change the name, because we had known them for one thing, the cans. The cans were creating a new name, but now when people were hearing that, even police is doing this, police is doing that, they are with you, they are with this, it was helping in actually passing on the message and sensitizing the community. So really, I don't know, but Madam ASP, that is something that can be really looked into. Yes, our probation officer, you closing words, solutions, you've seen two of them that we need to action to mitigate the challenges.
I would like to conclude by saying that we are all accountable for the children in the community. We should safeguard them, love them. These are our neighbors. You might never know, children in your home might be in-laws in my home tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey, Madam. Madam Rita, that conclusion, you're shaking the tables, but anyway, that is, she doesn't suffer from verbal diarrhea. That is one. She concluded very well. And the table she's shaking of any time I can be your in-law. Really, I know there are stories, because if you hear the ODS, it means you've knocked on the right spot. Chair, as we conclude, also you, that conclusion has hit hard. The conclusion has hit hard. I hear you saying, How do you conclude?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. First of all, I would like to thank my colleagues and to congratulate you for a session well done. To the participants, a lot has been said. However, to me, I feel that we all have a stake in as far as curbing or eradicating gender-based violence in our communities is concerned. This should be a shared responsibility. To my colleagues in my profession, let the schools be schools in the real sense. Let us not look at them as institutions for only children passing through to pass exams and then we leave everything. The schools will help us to make a change. We in Entebbe who have been given an opportunity, and the other parts of Wachiso, and you the participants, let us not only leave this workshop and say, to demo workshop, and that is all. Let the impact be felt so that everyone knows that we have a concern as far as eradicating gender-based violence is concerned. Let us use an example of very good stories that were given by Madame Mutoni. Thank you, and I pray that we remain active participants other than distant observers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. A round of applause to our panelists. And I would like to say it has been a very wonderful session. If you've not enjoyed, you can stand up. Hey, so you are attentive. Hey, she's on a... I thought someone hadn't enjoyed. No, but anyway, the key words that have been peaking. I remember we started with the key words of neighbor, neighborhood, showing everything has to do with you and I. There were things like structures. So if there are no structures, who are we going to report to? Who should we run to? Who will be involved with? There were things to do with positioning yourself. How are you positioning yourself? And I usually love examples. At Uganda Olympic Committee, you're now seeing Swans, the rugby union itself. We are positioning ourselves to assist, the government, to assist the schools, to assist the homes with, gender-based violence. And for us, we're using the tool of sport. You've seen we've had serious issues. Of course, the prominent one was the one to do with Rebecca in 2024. But many of them are happening, and I think even I was told statistics-wise that actually GBV cases are really high in the central region of Uganda, meaning we are in the Katiro. So things like structures, we talked about things of being accessible, and I like the bit of someone who's using Facebook, but Madam ASP, Facebook was blocked. So whoever is using it, are they safe? Tell government, we are tired of using VPNs, our phones are dying. Because now I feel if really someone is still using Facebook, there are those like me. Ever since they said it is blocked, I don't put a VPN. So even someone hacked into my account, I even don't know what they post on Facebook. So I lost all that connection there. So I lost that community. I no longer have any positioning and access. SP, tell them that media. Because I know Ugandans were using a lot of Facebook, but now also many of them have shifted, of course, now to TikTok, which is also becoming a problem, yet it's also good. But yes, I like that people are stepping up. I, for one, I think most of you later on you'll start hearing. I also had an accident one time on the express, and one of the things I do is trying to educate people by force. So I think one day I might be brought to your office when people are saying I'm a problem. But when I'm driving on the express and I find you on the outer lane for overtaking, I put it in your face that you're in the wrong lane. So I drive, I come to the side, I hoot at you and I tell you, go this way, because the accident I got was because someone shifted into the overtaking lane without any check or anything, and I ended up, off the road. And because of that, I feel the purpose I have to do now is to educate that always get to But people always don't listen to people in the red number plates. So I be worried thinking even they might come for me because you let them, you know. So I like that people are stepping up, and I think it should be nice that maybe the local council, police, empower them more. Because if someone is really stepping up and saying there's an accident here, don't do this, or you know, if you have an issue, come talk to me, I feel it could empower them more so that, you know, the community goes out to them. And actually the funny thing is, people go to those people a lot. And I see it a lot with Kasuku Live. Because there's a way people go to him when they have issues and, you know, he reaches out to people and all of a sudden something is worked on. So I think we also have to look at that approach of how do we reach out to these people. Much as we know we are trying to make it easy for them, but there might be another approach using such people like you've said, Mr. Arafat, that are using their platforms to reach out. So if we can empower them more, I feel they could be really helpful. We talked about things to do with the sensitization, and I hope that we all read the messages that are put in those groups. And he's right. The chairman is right. Many of us don't read those messages. But the moment they put things to do with the Nyash, things to do with the... there is a way the group becomes active all of a sudden. You're like, all of you have been in Kamori. Let us read that information. Because at times actually people say, but the numbers always put in the group, they have told you quarterly. But when do you check? Okay? So let us also take it upon ourselves that, you know, we try to sensitize ourselves and not only put that on the side of, let's say, government. There were things to do with the gravity of the matter. You've all learned that, you know, it all depends on times the procedure, things to do with the evidence. I also can't come and say someone cut off my beard when the beard is still on. So that's how, you know, you can tell priority of the case. So they will look at me, they're like, the beard is on, but he's saying someone cut the beard. We need more evidence. So they put it on the what? On the side. Someone comes with better evidence, then maybe there were things to do with charity begins at home. So please, as we give birth to the children, since God sent us in the world to give birth, let us also take it upon ourselves to be accountable. Let us be present parents, Banang. Kids shouldn't be given iPads. I look at some parents and I'm like, you're giving a kid a gadget at a young age. It's challenging, but we've gone, of course, to what Chair was saying, that but to be honest with you, much as we don't want the truth, that is not right. There is no way. You use the example on yourself. We were able to survive many challenges in the world because we were not exposed to certain things at an early age. Imagine if you were getting the salary you're getting now when you were still growing up. Where would you be? Wouldn't you know all the bars of those days and everything? But things came at the right time, at the right stage, and they were grounded. We used to argue. For me, they're giving me only 1 okay as a pocket. I remember when I was in my day school, I would go to school and I'm given 1,000 on a good day. On a good day, but on a good day, that's on a time I have performed well. It means the next time it goes to 1,000. But if I do badly, 500. You eat a pine and a donut for your break. You remember those days? But now you go there, you're trying to help your kid understand, then the other one, you see the father is counting. Your kid is looking at you like, Daddy, if I your jolly, you look at it, you know. But then later on, you look at how that kid is reacting to problems in life, and it's different. Someone is being given your school fees, you know. So it's, as parents, really, we have to also take a moment and reflect. We have to be honest. We have become the problem, but we are now pushing it to the schools. Sorry, teachers, we are really sorry. But that's how also the system has pushed us, that we are now making you the new homes, which I feel is wrong. And at times it is funny how a parent can say, Omwana wange namutwala kweli somero nayo noneka. Like, for you, what did you do? You know? So I feel it is also us. Charity begins at home. Let us go back to the African setting. You talking about a certain child, it doesn't mean you've beaten the child, and it's the onus is on us, the parent, to take that message as, you know, someone who's caring. They used to say, "Nswere kwagala yekorachi." But these days, when you become enswere kwagala, my friend, dogs are chasing you back. The other statements that he talked about were to do with the money issue. That one, as usual, people keep saying twagala sente, but I hope the examples that we've been given really help. But as they say, it all begins with us. At times, I laugh when people say government is the problem, but I keep asking people, you are the problem. One, someone talked about environment, and it's always about using the platform you're given. Someone gets out of their house drinking water. As they get out of their house, exactly close the gate, they drop that bottle in the trench. And then next time it rains, it floods, they are blaming local council. But you're the one who's dropping. So who's the problem? Government or us? You know? Immediately you know you've stepped into the driver's seat without a permit. They stop you, you know you have no permit. But as they are stopping you, officer, how are you? You give the bribe. So who's the problem? And also the officer here. Person has been there standing the whole day when they're being given soda. Why not? Okay? So please, charity begins at home. For me, it's the message I have learned. And for reporting and survival support, as our title was, these people are here the whole day. Please reach out to them, get their contacts. The probation officer is also here. Stop pretending that you don't know. Now you know. You can send on the message, and please, everything will be fine. Thank you so much, and we can give a round of applause to our panelists as they get back. You can please. Okay. As we prepare, there was something, I think it was ASP, who said something, I think it was professional, was it standard unit? Professional standard unit. I don't know why in that moment I had professional salad unit, but I think I was hungry in that moment. So let us pray for the food we are going to have, because if I'm starting to hear words like salad with a statement of standard, chitabuse. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the food we are going to have. Bless those that have prepared it. Let it be a blessing to us. And everybody said, Amen. So we shall meet again for the second session.